the ES performed and how the NQ performed. The ES was flat while the NQ was up about 3/4 of a point. We'll have the big kahunas look at that in a second. But the number one stock selected by you guys, the one I so eloquently called C-Poop the entire time. Great day for this one. Took it long, took it short. I'm in it long right now, guys. What is the look here?
So in a general sense, C-Poop is kind of like it sounds. Look, I didn't remember this until Sean sat down. Because I felt like the stock was familiar, but I didn't place it because I didn't actually look up the name of it. Right. But then Sean's like, isn't that pop culture Chinese name? It is. That's Pop Culture Group, Chinese, whatever. It doesn't matter what they do. 3 million share float. I don't mean to be so flippant about it, but like, does it really matter what they do? What matters is
I don't think so.
How many times this thing has, okay, so it's done. There's a split and then flush. There's a squeeze and then flush. I guess that's a squeeze, not a split, and then flush. I think you see what I'm getting at here. Every single move up has been a general fade. Usually 1, 2, 3, 4 days before the real flush. This one was 2 days before the real flush. So this is only day one. There's always a chance. See, it's got a chance. That's a nice thing I'll say about it. It's under VWAP, holding about 165. I think that's if you're looking for a trade, I think if you can give it to 165, the volume's pretty weak for this name, especially in the afternoon, but it's at least catching a bid at a higher low off 165. Because it's a day one play, holding a higher low like this, kind of an opening range, higher low, I think is solid. There's nothing bad about it here at that 165. But if you want like a runner, we'll get to DJT later. But if you want a runner, I want it holding VWAP. I want it doing volume that's at least comparable to at some point in the morning, not the lowest volume of the day when it's trying to catch a bid. So I think there's still a chance because it is a day one play. And when you look back at it, the last few times it squoze, you got 2 or 3 days out of it. That does mean it has a chance to close at least some above those highs. But it's kind of falling asleep here for, what did I say, Pop Culture Group. Co. Limit. Why is it Pop Culture Group Co. Limited? Usually it's like limited. Usually it gets just company or limited, but it's like Pop Culture Group Company Limited. That's too much. Shorten it next time, people.
I mean, I could sit here and go over it, but Neil just went over everything there. I haven't traded the name, so we'll pass on CPOP and talk about, I guess, crypto. Yeah, we're $1 in the money right now on Apple as well. We're waiting for Nvidia to fall. Nvidia's coming back in a little bit here. As we weren't here when it went up to 125.40. So that was sort of a sticky note area. I tried to average in, and now we're short here on this, but we're short at 45s on Nvidia. So let's see if it can pull back just a little bit. Looking to take some out here at the 50 period. Where are we going? Over here. All right, Sharif's ready, and I see he's in the Azuri blue. So there we go. Thank you to that. Thank you very much, Sharif, for wearing that. And we will see what the next talk is. Crypto, Hut 8, and WonderFi.
That was a ridiculous last-minute goal yesterday for the Azuri, so shout out to them. Big tie there. All right, Sean, Nvidia is next. I know it said crypto, but Nvidia is that one that was actually next there. Big down day for Nvidia, as we all saw, over 6% to the downside, recovering in almost the same way today. Was up at 6% at the highs, down about now 5 2/3, guys. Nvidia, wow.
We just got missed. We were at 124.60 there.
All ready to talk about crypto. And
wait a minute. I thought we were talking about crypto. Are we? What did he throw to? Crypto? Nvidia. Okay. All right. So look, we've traded this name today a lot, and we were long there, but ever since we've just been short. Now look, this is we talk about this. Here it comes in. We're taking some fills there. We just got a 60 fill. Oh, you can see. Look, we wrote down 125. Right here on the sticky note today. That would have only gone 50 cents against me maximum. You know, I mean, the thing is that just being impatient with it. This has worked for us yesterday. So I really just feel silly. I mean, look, we made money in here until eventually it took that top, which is fine. But I feel like these trades are a little irresponsible. 124 and change in here. Here against the day's high, I'm pretty okay with that. We did get stopped at once. We sort of talked about making this back. And right when we left you is when it started to go back up to the upside there. But at the end of the day, I think just waiting for the price is the right thing to do, and that's going into yesterday's open. Yesterday's close in and around. It was yesterday's open in here around 125 was an area that we were looking at. This is where we faded yesterday and got this huge move. See, against post-market highs. So today against post-market highs, we wind up breaking. Post-market high is actually 122. So we should have done better by getting out of that way. But right now we're short again, so all is well. Wow, we just went down into the 50s. All right, we're short NVIDIA right now. We've just been having to hold this all the way. So hopefully we get a reverse smiley face here. Let's call the frowny face back into the 200, and then we'll start printing. But for right now, NVIDIA is very, very strong, man. All the way back. I mean, back 6%. That's a great day. Like that's it just added on today, like 6% of 3 trillion. Like you're adding on companies every hour here. It's really crazy.
It's insane. I love that graphic that Fabian sent in. I don't have it because it was apparently only sent into the midday guys. But the two pillars of the U.S. economy, one of them being Taylor Swift and then the other one being NVIDIA. I thought that was poignant. I was all prepared to talk about crypto because that's what I saw on the board, and much like Ron Burgundy, that's how we roll around here. But we can pivot to NVIDIA. I mean, obviously it's a stock.
You can still do crypto.
No, I literally right after this, I'm going to talk about crypto. I'm going to talk about Mara, crypto, and all that kind of stuff. But just very quickly, I can't really add anything to it. The only difference I had was I had 125 to 127 as a short zone. So when it didn't really, like the break of 25 didn't get anywhere near 27, it put in a lower high. It was only when it started failing at 125 that I shorted it. I have one long trade. If it was close to 117, I probably would have had another long trade, but it didn't even get anywhere close. I felt if it was going to dip, and it dipped this morning, you'd get a test somewhere adjacent to the 117 level, which is the one I liked. It doesn't even want to give it to you because it's NVIDIA and it doesn't care. Crypto with a decent recovery, not huge. 60,000 ends up holding. You bounced off 58, you bounced off 60. We're still above 60,000. Mara was a big breakout past 19, and lo and behold, look at where Mara is right now. So Mara is right back. All roads lead to $19 on this stock. It is here or nothing. You can't time this any perfectly because it just bounced off 19. So yeah, if we lose, this isn't actually exactly 19, even though I've drawn the line, so apologies for that. Sometimes I'll draw a line and it's like it's not 1901. You guys know what I mean here. So if it holds 19 right now, it's about to retest it. I'll look for a long back into VWAP. But yeah, if it loses this, you could see at least a $0.50 to the downside for Mara. While up 2%, it is down, and I should show you, I mean, I should show the Bitcoin chart. I can talk about it recovering, but let's pop a 15-minute because that's the first one I saw. If you look at what's happening in BTC, there's your bottom holding 58, higher lows. It's attempting to put in another higher low. So if it does, I think Mara can bounce off 19. If it doesn't, I'll have a tight stop anyways.
Micron with a good look today from Rosenblatt, maintaining their buy rating, but really pumping up their price target to 225. This thing's trading at 139. So that provides a really good premium here. Good possible upside on Micron. Did you guys look at this one today?
Micron, no, I did not. I'm still looking at NVIDIA.
I did not.
Right now, let's have a quick look on Micron. So again, Micron reporting tomorrow night. So we're going to find out more about this story as, of course, DRAM being used right now is, I think it's for high frequency. I don't know. Anyways, they have an interesting product. But, you know, you've seen a big pullback off of that 150. So again, over the last couple of days as some of the chip names have been hit, we talked about NVIDIA being on the rebound today, but Micron not. So I just feel like you want to leave this one alone. I still like the story. I still like the long. I just don't know if you want to get involved right now, one day ahead of earnings. So for me, wait up on Micron and let's not like push anything here on this name. Hopefully we'll be able to get a dip buy into 130. Like I feel like anything into the 50 period on names and on stories that we like, I like Micron. I think it can work. So yeah, I am a seller of Micron now if I held it into the print. But again, like, you know, wait for lower lows, or I guess as we continue to go lower, wait for a dip buy opportunity into 125. So that's what I would do there for Micron. But again, clearly I don't know enough about this business, but there's ARM, there's NVIDIA, you have AMD, there's so much pushing these stocks around that I think it's a little interesting to make a play before earnings. But
well, they just turned around because I think they'd been negative EPS for a few quarters going into the last report, and then they turned around and went positive on the last one. So I feel like if they continue that, I'll say samesies to 125. The best part about a moving average like the 50 period on the daily is then you don't have to draw your own trend line. So you don't have to deal with me drawing like a loose and ugly trend line. You can just say, hey, good enough. There's your 50 period. It's hugging that. So great. I never hope a stock. I'm not hoping stock goes down. I don't own it, but I don't hope it goes down. But I just think it's a little more interesting as a trader if you get to trade off the 125 level than anything else. So like the ideal for me would be the stock comes down there. I don't see a day trade on it, is what it is. But if we were to take out 140 and a half or so, and suddenly the market is booming through the highs and 20,000 is being tested, and no longs that I'm in are working and I can't find something better, yeah, that could be a reasonable takeout of this 140 and a half, the opening range top on Micron. I feel like there'll be other fish to fry, though, if that's the case.
Tesla brushing aside some negative headlines today. A couple of recalls, one to do with the windshield washer, the other to do with the trunk, both around 12,000 trucks affected there. Still up 1 3/4% on the day, still down from the highs. We looked at this one during the midday. What is your look on this one, guys?
For Tesla, I haven't traded it today. I like that 187. I mean, we had talked about this earlier. I mean, it's nice to be up 1.7%, but I really liked it into this area. We talked about it holding the 180, I mean, it's held the 180 the last couple of days. It's really this 170 area. It's the 50-period moving average. So I think this has a chance to get back up to $200. The stories are pretty good. We're through that pay package sort of fiasco now, so we can sort of move off of that, and we'll find out about, leaving Delaware, I guess. Is that all official now? I don't even know. But now that we're not really working too much about that, 190 I feel like is in radar. So yeah, I think this name you can buy dips. I mean, but again, pretty hard off the open, right? I mean, that went from 185 all the way down to 182.50 and then just shot right back up. So I feel like with Tesla, even with Nvidia maybe, but more Tesla, this one seems to really get sort of confused about what it wants to do every morning, and then it can go in that way. So I admitted to forgot about this one on the sticky note, but it was a name that we should have taken because look at this move. Right into yesterday's close, right, is where Tesla bounced. Definite buy support at 182, which makes perfect sense with the chart the way it looks like. So I think Tesla has higher ways to go here.
Tesla, we'll get to SMCI in a second. Don't worry about it, everybody. We really like the stock. It's interesting. It's fun, but we'll go Tesla first. While being up on Tesla, I did slap the fail on this for the lesson of the day. And the reason for that, I think it's an important one. Because when you're analyzing key levels and ideas and all that good stuff, like you come up with one, and then you have to, from that point, you're then prioritizing, like, what do you like more than the other? What are the stocks that I'm going to have up at 9:30 when the market opens? And I had made the decision that Tesla wasn't going to be one of them. That was a colossal mistake because 182 held almost exactly. Like again, my line isn't drawn precisely at 182, but the bottom is exactly 182. When I drew this line, it's like 97 or something. But yeah. It was exactly where I wanted it to bounce. I did get longs later off of VWAP. The interesting thing about Tesla is every single time, with the exception, I've been long once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times I've been long Tesla today, and every single one but one stopped out eventually before hitting target. It's been doing that. Like they've been running stops, at least obvious stop levels on the way to the upside. And I was just in this, so I can tell you that it did get me off the 185, and now it's above VWAP. I'd be looking long over 185. I'm not really changing that. We talked about this resistance from yesterday, and in the afternoon yesterday. And as long as it's holding strength above there, I do like it for Tesla. But slap the fail on it because we should have been 182 long. It's just been so good for so long, the 80 and the 82 levels. The longer they hold, the more inclined you are to think eventually you don't get to trade them anymore, and you're breaking out the top, and you're going to that 200 Sean's talking about. That's how it works. I mean, there's no chance these levels keep holding and the buyers show up in the low 180s over and over and over again without Tesla getting to 200. It's just not going to happen.
Supermicro computer, last on the list here, took a bit of a bath with Nvidia and that big flush we had on the chips yesterday. Trying to recover right now, up 2%, but not nearly the same type of recovery that we saw on Nvidia, up 6%, almost 5% right now, guys. Supermicro computer, up 2%.
There's a character. Anyone remember the movie? It was 2012. John Cusack.
I don't know that one.
There's a Russian oligarch guy, like whatever, like super rich dude,
Yeah.
and he's always in his Russian accent. I have a really bad Russian accent, but I'll try it. Like he's every single phrase or line he has in the movie, he always seems to say that is not good, and I'm thinking with SMCI that is not good. No, this is bad for SMCI. When you like ARM is up. ARM is my worst stock of the day. I'll stop a fail on that one. ARM is skyrocket to the upside. What do I have these trend lines still drawn? 6% to the upside. We've already shown you NVIDIA, not split adjusted, so I'll zoom in for you guys, up 5.5%, right? So SMCI today, to be up 2%, that's great. 2% is not bad. It's not a horrible number. But the way that it fell, the way that it rejected 1,000, to really just be hugging the bottom of yesterday's range when everything else wants to go, that's not a good sign. I think it's relatively weak. That quarter level that got taken out, it only went to 820, which means if this local bottom goes, there's a lot of room. 820 is a long way to 750. Which is where the support is on the stock, maybe 760. It's like a $10 range in there. But I feel like that could be coming in. If it can't do better than this, it's also the 50-period moving average that it's hugging on the daily. You'd like to see, when you get that relief rally kind of day, you want to put a bigger dent into the move than what you're seeing here on SMCI. So yeah, it's got some upward trend with it. I think if you were, like the optimist would say this and this, that you've got an upper channel. However, look at the pattern here. Tag the top of the channel, tag the bottom of the channel. Tag the top of the channel. Eventually, before breaking, tag the bottom. Hold the bottom, get the top. So when a pattern like this happens and you have weakness, I think if it breaks 820, you see the bottom of that channel, that's 775. So I'm actually going to leave these on here. So if you trade at real trading and you put nice fancy lines in that you want to keep on your chart, all you got to do is hit your save layout, and then the next time I pull up SMCI on the daily, you will see this awesome channel that I just drew. I'm just happy because usually when I draw trend lines, it's pretty dirty, but this one's actually pretty good. Like I got the bottom and the top pretty well. So.
Yes, you want to keep it there.
Yeah, I want.
All right, so I'll do one the same here. I'll look at Dell. I mean, I think SMCI and Dell, they both got sort of that bump up there when Elon was talking about, using their products and the racks and the servers and all this kind of stuff. But again, like, to me, I think this is a buy right here, right now. I mean, Dell again, actually, just a shout out to Kevin O'Leary one more time because we was just here. We had talked to him about, and he had mentioned layers and layering on top and trying to figure out like, okay, where are we going to be using this AI? Well, I mean, these aren't products. I mean, we're talking about what's used to house some of these chips. So it's kind of like a picks and shovels type of thing here with Dell. So Dell back into the 50-period moving average. I really do like this stock. But what I'm really liking right now is the revenge of this NVIDIA short, because right now it's coming back in pretty nicely. We're back into the 200. We just got some fills down here in the 30s, which was real nice. 42s actually we just got. So so far so good there. We're $1 in the money on Apple right now as well, as that's 1% in right now. So look at all these bottoms here today. So far, so good on that. So yeah, I mean, things just working out here in the afternoon for the short. We'll see if we can hold on to NVIDIA and breaking back into VWAP. Yeah. Oh, CCL
Rivian's
earnings.
still higher. Yeah. Rivian's still up.
I'm in $1 in the money on Rivian.
Yeah, and CCL's still up. So Rivian, what was the news on Rivian again?
Rivian was upgrade Guggenheim.
Oh, right. It was just, it was only an upgrade. It was just a Guggenheim upgrade for Rivian. CCL reported. They had real news.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I shouldn't say real news. You can make a judgment how much you like a catalyst, but it doesn't matter. Rivian's still strong, holding that $10 level. CCL, there was a couple of trades in the middle here. Like off the open, it was that 17 trade, 17 stopped out, back in, ran to 17.5, ended up trailing out, played it off VWAP, that lost. Of course, I always, when I look at trends, one of the most important things that I found, and this is something that it was Obi that I discussed it with, but there was a trader way back in the day who used to draw a bunch of trend lines that was in my trading group. I actually don't remember his name. I want to say it was like a Corey, but then there's another Corey it could have been. But one of the things he used to say was, wait for the opening range sometimes to look for the trend. Like, don't just put it, okay, this is the bottom when they had the earnings, draw a trend line from there. When the stock opened up, it wicked down, stopped me out, then reestablished the low. Suddenly, if you go from like the next time it dipped, like hold, 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 and if you draw it as a, hopefully that's, your phone's okay there, Sharif. So if you draw it kind of like holding that line, you get one dip. Like I lost on VWAP, but when I see it dip that same price again, it can be an opportunity to get it that third time. And the third time it bounces off of this, look how clean it is. It's like 7 or 8 bars in a row on a three. So the only reason I'm drawing it now is to sort of explain why I'm long at this random price. So when it dipped back into the top of this trend line, I didn't hit save, that's why you don't see it. When it dipped back into the top of the trend line, I just went into the long, first consolidation, second consolidation, scalping to the top. It also happens to be holding the previous high as well. So CCL, the earnings were all good. And then the call, I mean, the conference call came on at 10 o'clock. And if you see, like that was the dip right in here at 10 o'clock. It then started holding the trend after the call started. So everything good for CCL. If you're watching anything in the group, well, this is the one with the catalyst. I know NCLH is more popular and RCL sometimes because they perform better. But today, CCL up 8.5%. Looking for 18s again. That's been the absolute high of the day.
Wow, yeah, we have 1680s or something long on that one. We'll talk about that in a minute. Neil said something that was very important, and he talked about Rivian, and he's like, well, depending on where you ranked the catalyst, right? It was the #1 trade idea here on the sticky note. So this is kind of like how I like to look at ideas. So I try to write the first one down as one of the big ones that we liked. So, I mean, we talked about buying dips into $11. So, I mean, this is Nvidia, first of all, that's singing right now. But this is Rivian. I mean, we're still in this trade. So this is getting close to that. I don't know if we'll get $1. I mean, we have 20 more cents. We're 80% of the way there. Right now, we only have 10% left. But again, if you're looking for plays, this is a pretty clear one right there for Rivian down to 11. And again, good trade, obviously a big name and happy to be in that one still. There's Apple. Apple is now a true dollar in the money. And then the other name here that, well, we're half $1 in the money on Palantir. Again, like look at this top that we have for PL. We have the bottom. This is probably an NFT worthy here. The bottom and the top today for Palantir. So I don't know exactly how that worked out, but we still have that 10% as well. We actually got out of this one just when we were getting ready for Kevin, and we were able to get out of some of that. And then the other trades here that we wrote down on the sticky note was Disney. Disney's going to be a good name. I mean, we're up just as much on Disney as we are on Rivian, but we've just been buying the dips into 101.50 is what we wrote down, 101.50, 102. So we gave kind of an area range there for Disney, and that's been working out. So, yeah, you know, we'll have one red name today, Nvidia. And we've talked about that. We were red on it early, and we're red on it late, waiting for a pullback here. And again, like we have a good winner on board right now. It's just, you know, seeing if it wants to drip in. I mean, we saw a huge collapse into yesterday's close, but today is a completely different beast. The NASDAQ today is up 1%. So, I mean, it doesn't really have the flow down like I thought it would.
Flow.
Yeah, I mean, the cash flow is flowing into tech names today as this name continues to be quite high up. There's the NASDAQ there, 19,960. Wow, I wasn't here for this, but that's a huge drop down. All right, maybe we could do that again. And we'll be fine for that because we have Nvidia short.
Yeah, like it's wild when you look at that NASDAQ, you can count them up. But when we hold here, it's all green till you get to like 19.95, and then you pull back to the same level, and then it's all green. So if you follow the same pattern, if we lose that, and this is a 15-minute chart, not a 3-minute chart. Like that's an hour, and each time that's like an hour and a half that you're doing it. So respect to the NASDAQ at these levels. DJT is still trying to go. So I know Sharif was talking about this one from the 35 break. Like you can kind of see exactly what happened here. It pulls right back into afternoon support, go double bottom, and then break out the top. It's not. Sometimes like the levels will speak for themselves. You just got to make a decision what you want to do with that price level. Because I could see the other side of the argument that you'd want to short 35. There's nothing actually incredibly wrong about that because it's a key price level. But in an upward trend, which is what this is the last couple of days, it holds that level, breaks this one out after the dump, so you let it make the bottom, breaks that level, then holds 36, so 35, 36, 237. It ends up being, I didn't come in today thinking DJT maybe, definitely not MLGO, but the two best stocks for me are MLGO and DJT. I didn't think the latter would be. We knew we were going to look for longs on DJT. It just took a while for it to actually catch a bid. Slowing down in volume, I think until it makes another run at the high and holds above 37, the next play would be holding some kind of a dip buy. The other thing we haven't mentioned is Amazon. Although this morning we said, I think for Amazon specifically, it failed an all-time high break, so I think it's a short till it's not, so looking for shorts only. Like everything else, it rallied up. We had 2 shorts on, we're in the third one now. Did not work at 188. Then shorted it under VWAP in here, was starting to go, then stopped out. Now we got it off the 188 level again, as it once, twice, thrice has tested 188 bucks. And just to show you, this is what I mean by it making the local breakout yesterday, and it was like 188.5, just right to 191 and turning around. Almost perfectly getting to that all-time high and then making the turn. So sometimes, if you had targets on that long yesterday, it goes exactly to where you'd think it would go with the pullback. Unless it makes a break of this 189 level, I got to be thinking it's still a short when we find these pops in Amazon. So I know it's above VWAP, I know it's up 1%, but it's because of what happened yesterday.
So watch out here as the market is starting to kick back a little bit here. We'll take this opportunity to take 20 cents on Disney again, and we still have shares, but we're getting into that 20-25% range, as it doesn't seem like we want to get too much more above 102.20. So if that comes into play, then we'll figure that out. Apparently, someone in the chat there, and you're right, there it is, Darwin says the spot ETF is going smoothly here for Ethereum. So you get a little bit of a bump up there. I mean, crypto 61.7 and 34. So the ETHE, bless you, with a little bit of a move up right there. But here goes the market, and here goes Nvidia. We just shorted last time we were up here. Maybe we're getting a little bit too cute with it by waiting for 125. We'll take a little piece. I'm getting out on the way down, but I really want to see about this high break. Like, I want to be short until 126, basically, here today. But the NASDAQ might just, we take out that top, I could be convinced about just, again, hanging up the towel here on Nvidia shorts. Still got Palantir, still got Rivian, and still got Apple, as Apple continues to work high side right now.
Not that I think I'm going to trade
Micron, yeah?
Not that I'm going to trade ETH necessarily. We have these at Real Trading, but I just noticed something. That's what I love about the platform. The first time we got Bitcoin and I was trading it, you had to manually adjust to the actual lots, right? Like the lots would be like 0.00000 whatever will be the minimum lot. Now you can automatically adjust with your keyboard. So if I need to trade Doge and its lots is like 0.0, just ridiculous fraction, it actually defaults. So if I go control 1, it's going to default to the min lot. I go 10, it's going to be 10 lots. Before you were having to type it in, so that's really good. It was the biggest volume spike of the afternoon, I should say, not the day, because it was a bigger spike earlier, right at the open on ETH. We'll see if it has any continuation. For a lot of people, you might be trading it on the OTC markets. Not a lot of follow through, as I can tell right now. I see some people are talking about GameStop going.
Really?
It's above VWAP. Well, guess where GameStop held today? Oh, wait,
23?
Yeah, I mean, I knew you knew the answer to the question. But, adjacent to 23. Effectively, you get a wick bottom at yesterday's low, 22.80, and then a consolidation right in around that 23 level. At this point, what's your trade? When GameStop fails under 26, 26 is the big level. The bottom before was like 23.5. Now it's pretty much just underneath the 23 to call it 22.5. And then you get these bounces every single time. Above VWAP, I'm usually looking trend long. Trend long, GameStop, there's higher low, higher low. Let's see if it can do what DJT does. Before it gets to green, I'd like to buy the next available dip. I like this pattern in the afternoons, specifically on GameStop and low float runners. If it's making higher lows and it hasn't reached the high of the day, I want to buy the dips till it does.
All right, Nvidia is going meme craziness again right now. It's just starting to go up here. I mean, the futures are also going, but they're wiping out all of the levels. So the programs are on now. And again, this is why we're waiting. We're waiting for that one. I mean, I'm offering right now 125.70. Like I think they could turn them on and get going right back up to the highs, right into here. Actually, 70 is too high. What is that high? Was it 65s? 60s. Okay, I think we should be at 60s. Like we should be in and around here. So yeah, that's 59. So we'll have to get a little more conservative and get a little bit closer to that. But I was just waiting for 126 to get going again, back up to the upside for Nvidia. I wonder if that's going to be a little too high, but it's those levels right into there, and see if we can hold from 2 days ago the close. And then yesterday we had the huge move down to 117, and then a wipe back up into 125 again. So yeah, man, crypto moving here, and Nvidia going back up to the upside too. No surprise there. Positive talk about crypto, positive talk here now in the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ taking out right now day's high. So you're right back upside. I almost think, like, if you like the short, I mean, buying that Nvidia dip was genius, but if you like the short in Nvidia, or sorry, the market, I think we should, this is NASDAQ, it's almost safer to do the market right now than against something that doesn't seem to want to stop in Nvidia. But all right, so we'll have to hold out there. We did not average back into this. We're trying to be as patient as possible because, again, trying to put some more shares on, but I need to be closer to a spot where if I punch out, then it's not like a complete disaster, as we've said many times before. That can happen. We're short right now at 124.77. Like, we're out of the money 22 cents here. It's not the end of the world, but you know, for Nvidia, I just don't like when the machines turn on because it really starts going. I think the others, you're right, man. I mean, the last dip that happened on Nvidia was 22%, NVDA. And we talked about that when that happened, right? It was back at 700, but this is it, split adjusted here. So $95 down to 75. So, I mean, that even looks better when we're talking about these kind of dollars. Easier for us to maybe conceptualize. That's kind of a normal move for a normal stock, but everyone kind of panicked on there when that was Nvidia. And again, $20 on 95. So you went down about 22%, which puts it in bear territory, and then it just got blasted up. So then you go now from 140 down to 118, so you lose $22 on 140, and you're down about 17, 18%. So now with this move back today, it puts it only down about 11 or 12% from its highs. So I still think Nvidia, although I like buying the dip, this would be the #1 name to buy on dips, in my opinion. I just think that the dip could be more in and around the 200 period, or sorry, the 50 period, which is 102, which would be a problem. If that happens, I'll probably be buying ahead of that anyways, because I just think that that could be the bottom.
But what chart's better than this? I mean,
oh, well, if you're an investor in Nikola, then you beat all of us.
I mean, like, what are we even talking about here sometimes? Like, here you have a stock which was, I mean, a day ago you're trading at 30-something cents. Today we're trading at $9.60.
Wow, man, you know, it's like 3,000% or something.
Like, come on, man, what are we even talking about? You want to talk about quality companies, Nvidia? Get out of here. Chipotle, take a seat. Micron, we can do all of them. Google, Amazon, Apple. The only reason I'm bringing this chart up is because I want to remind everybody what usually happens in a situation like this. I know Nikola did the reverse split. Technically, it's actually down right now. Typically speaking, you do a reverse split, you tank. So today is a failure of, like, it tried to break $10, right? So effectively, like, $10.50 was, I think, the effective split price. It ran maybe 40 cents higher than that, and then flushed. So that's what's happening here. So it runs right at the open, then immediately fails to be down on the day. If this doesn't see above $10 tomorrow, I want to pay for locates and then just go for that. It's a short till it's not. If it's not breaking that high after the split, then it's a short trend-wise every single day. The only concern would be when it was a penny stock, locates were super cheap because the float was obviously different. I don't know what the price is going to be when we sit down tomorrow to get locates on Nikola. I just know that I'm going to want to. I have a tight stop on Nvidia. Like, I only got in here when it failed the lower high. So if it breaks that 20 level, I want to jump out. I'm trying to get more shares of Amazon, but it's not. I was sitting right up tight to 188. And then it didn't get there. I tried to grab it on the way down, was unable to get any, wasn't fast enough. But let's go to Adara at the desk.
Seeing a couple stories roll here through. Keep an eye on XOM and KKR here. First up, ExxonMobil coming through here. Its global lithium director, Patrick Howarth, making some comments here, saying that they're looking at lithium expansion projects across the globe, and they have no plans to develop their own direct lithium extraction technology. Still pretty raged about here, but just wanted to bring up that story. Also with KKR, recent S&P 500 edition here, this one acquiring 5,200 apartment units across the U.S. for $2.1 billion, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. So basically, KKR acquiring 5,200 apartment buildings across the U.S. for $2.1 billion. That would be its largest foray into apartments, reported by Wall Street Journal here. Not a lot of reaction on the chart, but KKR and XOM, some stories here, guys.
All right, KKR, the recent addition into the S&P 500. That was fun to trade that. We crushed that KKR on Friday. And again, thank you for all the kind words about that trading that we did on Apple and KKR on Friday. That was fun to do, especially in front of everybody. We got to show sort of the validity of some of those rebalances and some of those numbers that we had and whatnot. So, eyelash again. Oh God, Brendan's too close. All right, so here we go.
You're too close, man.
Get back, man. All right, so just quickly here. NVIDIA, we're back to flat. So again, you don't like the short. This is a good opportunity right now to think about getting out. I mean, we have obviously a decent position on right here. We wrote down 125. I like the 125. It's on here. Rivian's $1 in the money. Apple's $1 in the money. And Nvidia's right at the level that we like. So we're going to try and see if there is a downside push here. I would love to get 50s. I mean, with the shares that I have, that would be fantastic. And then even into the lower end, 124. I mean, so let me just tell you where I'm bidding. I'm bidding something in the 60s, then in the 50s, then in the 30s, then in the teens. So I don't know, hoping that it drips. But we've already been down here. We kept on resisting it. So I hate to take like 15 cents on, it'll be on 5% of it. Wow. You know, the bigger position, like about 15% will come out here at 50. So if we can get down to the 200 period, we'll take more out on the 1 minute chart. So hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed, it's a flat trade right now. I'm just trying to show you and explain like my thought process here so that hopefully if it works, we can repeat it over and over again. So that's what we're doing, and that's the whole point of me putting out something like this sticky note. I'm gonna get out here on Rivian. You know where I mean, I don't even have a stop now for Rivian. This is a smaller piece, but we have the bottom of the day. Look at it ride this 50 period moving average. That's at 87, 88. So let's zoom in right now. If we get out right there, it'll be a decent win, right? So let's take that. Let's take 88s. We'll push it down a little bit. Let's take a break of 85. All right, break of 85. So we'll put this in right now. 11, 84. We'll stop out of 100%. We push enter. Now it's hands off so we can go focus on what just got printed down there. NVIDIA into the mid 60s. Hopefully this will come back. My whole day is basically relying on this. Not my whole day, but I don't have a bigger position on right now than in the one that is up 6%. So let's see if NVIDIA does have a little bit of a reversion to the mean. And if that happens, man, that's 123 because that's what VWAP is, you know? Standard deviation. So let's wait to see where we can get going, man. I think it's well extended from VWAP. We should be able to pull back. So bids out there for NVIDIA. Let's see what happens.
So I want to answer a question in the chat. It was actually about CCL, which just bounced off that, or is at that trend line that I eloquently drew. You can't eloquently draw it, but I accurately drew it anyways. So I just got a bounce here off of 70 level. I had like, when it's trending up, you'll note that when you buy the dip on a trend like this, like in theory, if you're doing it right, your price gets higher as it goes in this particular case. But I wanted to thank a viewer, it was Mark in the chat. You know, obviously, if you watch by now, you know I tore my Achilles. And they sent like a device, which apparently is pretty cool, which might help out. I have heard some things about this iWalk, like handless crutches. And I was advised that it is tricky to use. And for some people, it can cause like other issues. So, but I thank you so much for at least thinking about me and suggesting it. I'm definitely looking into it, and I've asked my doctor about it as well. So I appreciate that. The question about CCL was, do you think it can continue the move? I think you mean in a higher time frame because it was also about, will it get any analyst upgrades? I'm inclined to think after the beat that you're going to see, maybe not tomorrow, sometimes it takes a little bit, but I think you're going to see some analyst upgrades on the stock. The next step, and the reason why I'm saying I'm going to be taking profit into 18 is this little lower high triple top at $18. Like you've gotten what you wanted out of CCL. Like it broke, it had already held the 50 and 200 period. It broke out that 17 on the daily, well, right into 18 bucks. So trend into resistance, get out. If it breaks 18, I think that's its own move, maybe tomorrow or later on. And then you have a triple top right in here at almost $20. So there's plenty of room for continuation. This has been for all the, sometimes you get a lot of negativity in this space. Like this has been good from right here, October of 2022. You can't talk about trend lines without noticing, like in theory, like it has broken the initial double bottom. If you slap it in here, it's pretty well held this trend off the low into a flat top break at 20. So I would tend to think when I see something like that, 17 is a good break, 18 will be interesting, but what happens if this thing can climb above 20 bucks? Then it gets very, very spicy if it starts holding above 20. So I do believe it can just be the beginning for CCL, but you take it one day at a time as a day trader because that's the business. And oh, I forgot to hit save. That was a decent looking trend line. I can draw it again. But anyways, I just reloaded off this current trend to the upside. CCL, it's been good, it's been strong. I haven't looked at any other ones. Amazon did not get the reload, unfortunately. And I was asked, am I going to short AMD? It's at a key level. At 160 is my answer to that. AMD has put in some pretty good recoveries today, including the one in the middle of the day. I think I want top if we're going to go at this one. You know, Nvidia is at the top. AMD, you're 80 pennies. Check that. You're $1 off of off the highs. I don't know that I like the entry on AMD just yet. Maybe if it fails at that same price, 159.77, I could be convinced, but I'm going to stay away from that, at least for now.
Okay. All right, what else do we want to look at? I got to go get some more water, so you guys are right about that. We'll wait for that. Oh, there's Apple Fritter is in the chat.
That was who asked the question?
Yeah. So shout out
Great
to Apple
name, by the
Fritter.
way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I found that on the recap show. I was like, well, what a great name. We already anointed him the best name. Okay. I'm already short Nvidia, but I think AMD is near something as well. I just shorted some more. I just shorted some more here at 28 because at O's because we just got out at 60 some anyways at 66 there, as we mentioned it to you that was an area that we were looking to get out on, so we did do that, and then we just reloaded a little bit there on Nvidia now in and around that 120. Well, right now at 125, so that's where it is. Our average price is now 81. I don't know, hoping for a move down. Let's look at a little bit of a bigger look here at the NASDAQ to see, is there even a move down that's going to happen? I mean, all right, so just a quick little zoom in here. Yeah, yeah. So it still looks to me like 20,000. Like being stuck in the middle here is great and everything, but I'd rather be somewhere near VWAP or something to make a call that if we lose it, then we can get down, but I don't know. Like this 200 period is 19,948. That's pretty close to where we are right now. So maybe we're just riding that and we might not have too much action for the rest of the day. But what is that level? 19,997? Okay, hold on a second. Where are we at right now exactly? 19,995. Okay, so yeah, I mean, all right. Maybe, so no surprise there. We just zoomed in and found 19,997. So that's this high right here. I mean, if we break that, then yeah, we probably are going to 20, which means these shorts are going to be in trouble for a minute. So, we're still fine. We'll still hold on to what we have now, but definitely waiting for that 125.50 or so area to get more short for Nvidia and then use 126 as our route, because 126 basically means that we've broken on here and we're should be close to 20,000 at that point. And I think that's a short. So I'll be fine sort of getting into this position here. It's 244, lots of time left, obviously, in the day here. So let's not get too carried away with where we are and just continue to be fine with what we have and wait for it. Apple, still $1 and change in the money, even more than that, $1.15. So although we don't have a huge piece left of this has been a good trade. It's kind of tried to take out the 50 period right there. Let's put an offer for Apple in and around this high. What is this right here? 210.50. That's right where we're at right now. I'm okay to take this out. We're long right now at 209.33. Let's just take it out, ring the register here. If we get a 47, then we should be able to get out. And there it is. It rings that out right there. That's a hot dog cannon right there for Apple. nothing wrong with this trade. It is P&L number one here today, Apple for me. So good one there. We'll take it. Big trade. We just took $1.30, and that's the end of it. So now we'll just wait and see if the market does have a problem up here near 20,000. Feel like we're short too early. That's all. So let's wait. We'll take out Apple just in case we're right.
It's pretty sleepy up here.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I might just drift higher for now.
I don't mean on the desk. I just mean on the, I didn't realize on the side shot. I didn't mean to put my hand into everybody.
No, I meant on the market. What were you talking about?
No, it's sleepy up top in the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean on the desk at all. It's just you're trying to pull back. It's not happening. That's why I went over to GameStop, not just because everyone's like, GameStop's going again. But when you have an afternoon where there's not a lot of movement, I went over to DJT. I'll get there in a second. I went over to MLGO. Why do I already forget what that company's called? I do forget, it's legitimate. But I just jumped in 23.5. We're looking for the first pullback. It dipped right into a previous area of significance, 23.40, made a higher low. We're long at 50s, 52 actually. We got some 51s and 53s, and then I'll get out if it breaks 23.40. So we'll leave it at that. If it goes to the top of the range, we'll scalp half out, then hold for this 23.90 top on GameStop. If it goes green, I think that's enough for GME. DJT is at VWAP as we speak. So it's trying to make a bounce as well. We said unless it was holding above 37, this would be the spot for it here. Bouncing off VWAP, looking for a consolidation. GameStop came first. At least when I saw it, I wasn't watching DJT when it made that move. I was kind of throwing GameStop up there to try and catch that pullback, anticipating DJT was going to hold up, and then it dipped into VWAP, and it's been down here a while. So I don't want to chase the move. I got to get something tighter to 35.50 if that's going to be the case. We did ring the register on CCL, so just going back over. As long as it holds that trend, the thing about a trend line here is I have to keep tabs on it. I do have a level 2 dedicated to it because if it breaks trend, I just want to jump out. So that's a moving target. You could code something with the API if you're inclined to here at Real Trading. I'm just gonna punch out if I see it break this trend line, and if I see it bounce off it, like in here, the second it catches the bid, I just kind of punch long on the offer and add to the position. So it keeps on sliding up, so we're gonna keep going with it. But we might have missed that shot in DJT. Now you're seeing it start to go off. I'm not chasing it. It's GameStop that we just jumped into on this little consolidation dip. If there's any other names you guys want us to look at, let us know. Chipotle, Sebastian says.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow. You know what? It's not a guarantee that Chipotle gets traded tomorrow, but it's a guarantee that it's not happening today. It's a great stock, 3,200. I mean, all it does is win. All they do is win, no matter what. Like, look at the trend on this. Even with the pullback, riding the 50-period moving average, nothing wrong about it from a technical standpoint. It's just 3,200. For a day trade, that makes it real tricky, I suppose. If you're playing with options, like, there's probably better ways to do it. But it's better for everybody after the split, even for options traders, because it's just a little bit cheaper for everyone. So, like, I'll be excited to actually get a chance to at least look for some trading opportunities. I'm not going to force the action on it tomorrow, but you can see this 50-period where it's been holding, right? Like that equivalent price, like it's 31.50 or so. So you want to make sure when you split adjust, if it holds that trend, all for it. Tomorrow is when it will trade with adjusted.
Let's go. All right, I mean, let's go. A face slapper right now as Nvidia comes pulling back a little bit. We get some 60s out right there for Nvidia. Like I said, this is violent. Like, look at the move down here in the market. And then, you want to talk about, first of all, we don't really talk about Bruno, but the thing about this is I'm along Disney. I should be talking about Bruno. Look at this trade. You want to props this up on Apple at some point because, like, we just got out right there at 210.50. It's at 209.80 right now. Well, it was just right down there. So again, sometimes you got to like just sort of bite your tongue. I mean, we were just saying that it was sleepy up here. I like the short. We took it, and then that just happened. So you can hold on to it and be like, I don't know, I'm not going to manage my positions. But we didn't. We took it out right there. So again, just something to note of that move. And then look what just happened here again. Take advantage, man. We have actually a couple fills down here. 2 fills. Just look at this. Right back into the 60s again. So these shorts on Nvidia are serious shares. We're trying to make some money here. And yeah, these shorts in the afternoon, let's just hope they wind up paying. This doesn't, you know, like I like it when we're building or planting purple flowers and all the way to the downside. I don't like just picking weeds like this. It's like boo, boo, boo. Like no, it needs to continue and put some roots into this. Get lower because just this continuous retest of the 200 here is not something that I'm very impressed with right now. So we're gonna have to wait to see if something can happen. But for right now, I'm getting a little nervous about this kind of a play. So we're getting out. I'm still here. Maybe the futures do drop out. I mean, we just did that work on looking at the futures and talking about that 19.7. So did pay dirt a little bit. There's Fed's insert name here speaking. So I don't know. I mean, could be something. All right, let's just see what happens here with that video. We're waiting for that one. Remember where our Rivian out is, dropping through 85? I mean, that's going to be a huge winner today for me with Rivian, obviously, and then so was Apple. So yeah, big trades there. And then CCL. We had this one early as well. We actually have the bottom right there of the earnings report, basically 1680, and then our outs were 1750. So again, a pretty positive name for us there, CCL, into today. But yeah, man, right now, let's go. We need Nvidia to get to the downside, and I'm not sure that's going to happen. So we may tap out of this and then regroup, but let's wait to see.
I want everything
Nvidia.
to get to the downside. Well,
yeah, that would be nice.
Because I don't think GameStop cares a lot, usually, about what the overall market is doing. CCL might, to be sure. I was just messaging Obi. He just told me something I was confused about. He giving me advice about the MRI, and I forget that he actually, like, he studied medicine. He's like, you might want to rest up before the MRI. I'm like, why? Don't you just lay down for like a while? Like, why would I need to rest?
Dude, I mean, I had my MRI. I like went right from work.
You literally lay down.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it takes, but the only thing they say is long. I'm not claustrophobic or anything, so it's like, who cares?
Like an athlete has an MRI like immediately after a game.
Well, in Canada, you got to wait. They don't have enough machines.
I don't think you need to actually rest.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Well, when is it supposed to be?
Oh, it's not. It's I missed the afternoon show at a minimum.
Oh, afternoon show? Okay.
Yeah, just because it is what it is. Like, you get it when you get it. They don't. If I was elsewhere, I guarantee you, I would have gotten an MRI. No. I would have gotten an MRI right away if I was in other places that are not Canada. But Canada is Canada, so you got to deal with it.
And we talked about with Kevin O'Leary and like a huge, amazing healthcare system.
We
Canada.
do.
So yeah, you're lucky.
But it's not perfect. There's nothing perfect about it. And then the follow-up, I got to wait as well because, you know, essentially you wait a couple of days for the results, which I promise you, if you're like a professional athlete, that is not the case whatsoever. As far as the meme stocks go, GameStop, which we're in, that's a mouthful at times, just did the old wick shimmy. And the other one that I wanted to grab was going to be DJT. So if this one can't hold, we might have to go over to DJT. This is my first trade in GME today. If you had that 23 bottom, great. The equivalent trade to what we were doing on DJT was literally 23 in here. But I'm taking the higher low. It's trying to hold that consolidation, but it's not going. Maybe it does want to drop with the market. I just said usually they don't care. Maybe they do care. And I got to respect that. So Amazon, I'm trying to get this 87. I don't love the fact that you've double tapped 87 and it was the opening range high, and all of a sudden it's got support, higher lows at this 187. So I'm trying to tap out in front of 187 on the Amazon short. And if DJT wants to continue, like, look, we went from DJT trading a couple times this afternoon to GME because at the time it was doing the better volume and going, but it looks like DJT is still kind of the champ, holding on to VWAP, continuing to trend to the upside. And someone just asked what happened. If you're only tuning in for the first time, I tore my Achilles last week. So dealing with that, but it is what it is. You just got to move on, do the next thing, which is find out if I need surgery or not. I just like knowing things. I hate not knowing. Just let me know what's going to happen.
I was going to say it's...
And then if I get the surgery, then I know. There's like this rehab or that rehab. You know, just put it out in front of me. It's just more annoying that I have to wait for it.
Yeah, you'll get the answer. I was going to say I don't have an ACL, MCL. I have metal in my knee. I don't have a knee. I don't have anything PCL, ACL, MCL. I don't have any of that. So welcome to the club. I don't have any CCL either, although we made money on CCL today. So that was a good
You got
one.
a better story, though.
Well, mine was from high school, playing.
Well, you were playing a real sport. Like, I wasn't. I was literally playing a recreation.
But that's okay. But I've had this. You'll have this problem, and it's not even going to be a major one, man. Trust me, you'll be completely fine. My knee is I still can't even sit here for more than a half hour, so that's a problem. All right. So Nvidia coming through. Palantir, Nvidia, those are all that we have left. Disney we have left, but again, a pretty small piece on that one. I'm just hoping that we can hold this 50-period moving average and then come back in for that. So look at Bitcoin, nicely done there today. I mean, we talked about HUT 8 as that one was moving around today, back up to $15. This is in and around where I sold it, I think. We did pretty good on HUT 8, but again, always like to do better. Look at this, up 16%. And we actually talked about this with Michael yesterday, that looking at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, more strength in Ethereum. Let me just refresh this to make sure that we're looking at the right numbers here. I was actually looking at Pepe coin here today. Pepe coin, 20% right there. Bitcoin Cash, 12%. My kid Baxter was always telling me about Chainlink. That's up again right there. Where's Cardano up 7 points?
I want the chain wax.
Yeah, you got to get on that. Dogecoin up 10% right now. Solana, there's another big one there. 138 is pretty low though. Up 7%, I guess it's been lower. And then Ethereum and Bitcoin both in there around 3. So yeah, we had Kevin O'Leary on and he was basically just saying what I believe in as well. Although I own iBit and I own some ETFs, it doesn't make much sense if you're going to want to pay a management fee. If you're just gonna like keep these things on exchange somewhere, it's probably better to actually hold the coin so that you can, this is the advantage that I would see from it. So you could trade out of it over the weekend and stuff like that if you actually held a decent position that you wanted to trade out of. But I mean, the fees on some of these ETFs are, you know, well under 1%. So that still does suck because 1% compounded, if you're gonna hold these things for 20 years, it's going to matter and you're gonna basically be foolish not to have held it in crypto itself. But at the end of the day, it's to each their own. It's easy transfer of money now, obviously, from one account to the other. And he mentioned WonderFi, you can do Coinbase.
There is a difference.
And all of that. So that to me is the benefit of keeping it on exchange somewhere, trading out of it. But if you're not gonna do that.
I know you guys have, Nvidia just broke.
Yep.
Nvidia just broke, GME just broke, but I actually think this would be a topic. And let me quickly show you guys a chart, and then I want to expand on that because I think it's important because it's a tax reason I think for some people why you want to own an ETF. But Nvidia just broke the 20. I had the 20s as my out, and I think the high of the day is a separate trade that's all the way at like 60 or 70. But if you think about it, one of the reasons why I have it is we have something called a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account, and it allows you to essentially own crypto in that account where you're not paying taxes on your gains, whereas the government does want to go at, the idea is that they want to go at your crypto gains regardless of how you hold them. If you have it in your TFSA, you are able to then get around this. So there's some tax benefits to that. I think for a lot of people, that can be why they want to get into the ETF. And I don't think that's unreasonable at all. Of course, I agree with the overall notion. Yeah, if you can avoid having a fee and just own it, it makes perfect logical sense. But there are some tax implications. Those are important. You got to know where you're at, what are the things that you can take advantage of. And for us, because we have it, I like it. At the end of the day, you just got to do what's best for you in all situations. Because that's all you can do. Right? Like know what your country or region allows and take advantage of all the rules out there. I don't care what anybody tells you. You know, if there's a tax rule that is going to be a benefit to you, then it behooves you to make a decision that's best for you. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And of course, anybody that's in Canada would know about the TFSA. And of course, I just don't have enough room in my TFSA to put Bitcoin in there. So yeah, that's also another problem. You can only put in like $5 or $6 grand a year into the TFSA. So that would be another reason there why it is tougher to get your money into that and then hold a significant portion of Bitcoin, right? So
the hard thing about the TFSA when you're managing it is you always have to sell something. That's what I find because it's limited how much you can put in. So it's like you have to decide, like, this is the thing I'm buying right now. So when I sell, I'm now buying this. So when the Purpose ETF came to Canada, which is the one that I have, every time I was selling stuff, a portion of it was just transferring into that Purpose ETF, and then I would sell any actual Bitcoin that I had, to the point where eventually, after about a year, almost all my Bitcoin is now in that. But it did take some time. That's a relevant drawback, very, very relevant drawback with that. I think I don't know what the rules are for the Roth in the States, whether it's the same thing or what the limits are each year, but that's something we have to deal with in Canada.
Yeah, not just a pretty face, although I'm neither that either, but there you go. So, okay, just real quick here, just to see what we're doing. Disney, Palantir, Rivian, Nvidia, check, not much going on right there. We did have a story about XOM. Randy's been liking XOM for quite a while right there. So let's just figure out now what is going on with this stock. It was up 3% yesterday, had a great move again today, and trying to get above the 50-period moving average. I mean, this name, as energy is still, it's only like, is it like 7 or 8% or something of the S&P 500? Many of you may know that. So I think still it's underweighted. And I mean, there could be, if you're going to be switching over from tech over into something, that's why you've had the last little bit of a move higher as people, I don't want to say like people are super nervous about the Nvidias of the world or anything like that. I mean, we're up another 1% today and Nvidia's up 6%, but when the market was coming back in, you did see a little bit of a flight to energy, and we did talk about, you know, a big holding for me. I own like way more XLE than I do any individual energy name. I don't even know if I have XOM anymore. I'll have to look. I do know that I own Enbridge, which is different. That's just more of a nat gas play, and again, more on the transportation and pipelines. But XLE has been a big one. You could see here, same thing. Last couple days, moves up. Now it's been getting hit. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I like this. And actually, there's the one in Canada. There's a Bank of Montreal one that I own. So I own some XLE, but more of the Canadian name to come in. But again, just for today, for XOM, because it was moving there, we got that story with Adara, maybe that 114, 114.50. But still, too much back and forth here. Like, it would have to be up here for me to short this. Right now, you are coming back down. So a break of the 200 could definitely be something. I mean, it broke here, went down, held there, took that, went, actually that wasn't that big, only 10 cents, but came back, hit it, and then back up. So yeah, I mean, this could be a nice little indicator for a short here for XOM. Maybe.
Ooh, I
just haven't traded it that much lately.
That's another, yeah, you know what, on the
at it.
daily, I still like the energy long. I'm just mad at myself for not buying the most recent dip that you had, which is frustrating. Yeah. AMD's kind of going sideways in
just
here.
Just the power hour now.
So we just hit 3 o'clock, and I was asked before, like, do you like to short an AMD? Well, that last retracement to the high on the NASDAQ, AMD didn't seem to want to do anything with it. So it didn't look that great at the time. Like, well, let's give it a chance to get into 160. If it doesn't want to go up when the market's going up, then maybe it should be a short. You're still actually putting in lower highs off of that level. So I gave it some time to maybe make a run and give a better price, but all of a sudden 159.5 is looking a little bit better. I haven't had a single long in this stock despite the fact that it's upward trending. Part of that has to do with the overall, like the general trend in the stock, which is the other side of the equation. It's been in a downward trend for the last, I don't know, since it made that high in March, and most recently, if you look at it from like the end of May, it's a very distinct downward channel that AMD has been in. So I generally look for shorting pops in situations like that or short entries. So right in here off of this consolidation, if you like a stock long, a lot of times you want to go long in a consolidation. If you like a stock short, you usually want to go short during a consolidation. Then if it breaks in your favor, you got VWAP at the bottom. I can get out before the high of the day if it tags a 159.60, and then we'll work off of that level for now. We're still in Amazon. I haven't covered that one just yet, but AMD going sideways off a lower high. If the market does pull back in, I think this should see VWAP, and we're in a power hour. Things should start to go.
Yeah, we're ready for something to start to happen here. I was looking, nothing happening with Roblox. Some of the other names that we wanted to look at: Disney, Apple, Rivian, Palantir. I mean, I'm in all of the names that I wanted to be in the beginning. Look, I'm looking at other charts. So Citigroup right here, you know, not doing much. I was trying to look at some banks to see if there was any sort of an actionable play. We had JP Morgan was in and around $2 earlier. Was that the very high today? Yeah, 200, so $200.09. So again, that would be something. And look at the trend right here. This is actually a decent little break spot. Maybe we might have found something. I don't want to jump too much in, but look at this, under the 200, under the 50. This looks like a good breaking opportunity right here for JP Morgan. Breaking back down below 198.30s, this little level. If you're in this name, I don't mind this at all. I mean, still trying to go higher, higher, higher there, making new lower highs as we come in. So let's wait to see what winds up happening right now. If we can take this 50 period, then maybe you come back in, but you could go short here on the 50 period against this level, hoping that this continues back in. I actually don't mind that trade. What is that, 70s? All right, why don't we try this? That's 198.70 high. So let's go short against this, 198.55 right now. So let's try to go short JP Morgan, okay, it's right here, 198.55, and then we'll see about a downside push over there for that one, and we'll still hold out that Nvidia can do something. We did not reload anything up here. We could put on a little bit, but look at it hold the 50. Oh man. I really think the market can go down here, but starting to talk myself into letting this go earlier because
2 consecutive red.
Don't want to add too much to this.
Oh, thank
problem.
you. Turin, appreciate the super chat. You know what? We were talking about Oracle, but here we go. Thank you for the super chat there, Turin. Guys, Oracle, this thing did not continue to shoot after earnings, and it's closed the gap area from then. It's also been trading below the 200-period moving average. So remember, with this whole TikTok ban thing, I'll get the numbers out as quickly as possible. There was a story, essentially, because it's not really known how much revenue exactly Oracle's getting from the cloud storage for TikTok servers, but essentially an analyst took the revenue that TikTok is making overall in North America, then spotted they said like 3 to 5% of that, let's just say, is going into cloud storage. The number worked out to like 480 to 800 million, which is really revenue. So if that's accurate, and I'm not saying it's accurate, it's just some analyst on a CNBC article. So you take that for a grain of salt. But if that's accurate, that is a hefty portion for Oracle to potentially lose. And we're just talking about this with Kevin O'Leary today. This could be happening, very likely is. So that's not a great thing for Oracle, and a stock which is going up and makes a high and was already probably pulling back in a general sense. Yeah, it's starting to lose its luster. It just lost the breakout at the top. It's got resistance, or support, I should say, which has held once at 137.5. It bounced off that today, so that's a good sign, I would suppose. But the trend has been down. Yeah, watch out for a 137 break. I'm not as bullish on this as I regretted not dip buying this stock when it got to the 200-period moving average. I'm not touching it up here. There's plenty of other things I think there'll be dip buys before. I'd like to see how this whole TikTok thing settles out for them. That's not an insignificant portion of their revenue. To want to buy a high when you have a catalyst like that, a negative one, I think it's an easy stay away for me. If it gets anywhere near, the more significant levels like the 50 period and the 200, that's a different story. But we're talking $20 away.
Yeah, we're slowly adding to some of this Nvidia that's gone meme mode again, all the way back through 125.40. Oh, we did get some JP Morgan to the short yet. And I know, who was it there in the chat said that JP Morgan hasn't even done. Oh, you're welcome, John Van Sowers. This is a great show, he says. Right here, Frank Jones, JP Morgan's not even at ADV. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even look up average daily volume. Yeah, it is crazy. I know her. So we actually talked about that. Like, why? I was just saying, like, I think like Nvidia wants to hold these levels there. Oh wow, it just went up to 48s and so. Ugh. Okay, I mean, I'm still watching it. I just saw it starting to go ape mode again, back up to the upside, as we've seen Nvidia do this many times before, and then we've able to again. It's been a good afternoon, but we got that sense that it really wants to start to go now, as it just keeps on bouncing off 50 period, 50 period, 50 period. So I was going to give this another go up to 126. That's all. You guys have seen many dollar clubs on this many times, and so let's just wait to see if we can put another one on right now for Nvidia. Hopefully to the downside. We're holding it $1 against us, right? So maybe it'll go in, maybe it won't. But right now, Nvidia, nice downside, a nice upside push here, and we just missed our position. We're waiting at 70s to get it. I mean, right there, the high was 59. It came right back up to it. So again, if you're a little more patient with this play, then you could be short in and around 40s or 50s. We unfortunately were not. So now let's see if Nvidia wants to pull back down. We're out of the money 20 cents. So I'm not going to sit here and be like too scared of it, although it is going to the upside. So like I keep saying, man, trade it out if you don't like it. If we could just get some out at 125, maybe we'll do that. And then just get out some of that and just see if we can just sort of breathe a little bit more right now. But yeah, Nvidia definitely a problem.
Tesla. I was about to say Tesla. What is going? Someone asked me checking on Tesla. I pulled it up. I'm like, what do you do with this? If I liked short, I probably would have shorted 187, but I'm not really thinking short today on Tesla, so that's not where my head is at. Look at that. After running $2 in 15 minutes, or maybe like 20-something minutes, it then cannot move more than 30 cents for the next half an hour. Like, that's wild, and all of a sudden it's going to the downside. So Tesla is coming back in. As I said, I would probably be favoring longs in Tesla. Otherwise, I think you'd just be shorting the 87 range. But I cannot believe, I've seen a few people mention Carvana. I haven't looked at Carvana. That's a mistake. Carvana's squeezing again and might make a monster breakout today or tomorrow.
Bleed.
Like this is like 127. This could be, or 129. That could be nasty. That's a weekly chart, not a daily chart. It's at 127 now, but 129 is a monster level. Fresh highs on Carvana once again. If that breaks 129 tomorrow, there's going to be some day traders on that 100%, and some of them will be on this floor. I hope to be as well. I got into AMD just now. It's trying to break down. It's got a tight range, just like Tesla did, but I like to short in AMD, so therefore in the range, I'll short it. With Tesla, I'm not touching it to the short side because that's a strong stock as far as I'm concerned. So Carvana, I'm not trading it now because I think it's way too close to that high on the weekly to try and punch into a long at 310. No chance. It's way too tight to that 129. I'd rather it breaking that out where it's got all day to go.
All right. Yeah, we just covered some on Nvidia. I mean, we're trying to throw down here for you guys, and I'm trying to throw down for myself. Hopefully that will break through, man. We just got some fills underneath 125. Our best fills 90s. We got 90s and 94s. We did get 04s, and then we got 94s and 90s on this trade. So we started banking a little bit there on this trade. So again, fine, but you know, come down. It needs to come down more than this, obviously. Look at JP Morgan right now. I mean, again, sure, not the greatest amount of volume. Let's just punch out a little bit there, and we get some dark pools in and around 39. But hey, you know, at this point, although we are not stacking with Nvidia, we'd like to do that. We are trying to put up some numbers here. Let's get some more out at 38 there on JP Morgan. So again, a well-defined area, I thought, now in the money. So let's get some out for Nvidia, or sorry, for JP Morgan. As we're right at that level, now we wait for the break, right? Wait for the breakdown into 198 now for JPM. So let's see if that one can work. It doesn't look like, good thing we took a little bit of advantage there on Nvidia. We only got out of about 15% in total, so not really worth the risk to reward on this, but again, we're underneath here on the 50-period moving average on the futures. All we have to do is lose it and then come back in and test here. And I think this Nvidia trade will definitely look a little better than it is now, needless to say. So JP Morgan's in there. All right, here's another move here as we sort of chase a little bit of P&L. Let's see about Disney. As right now, Disney is at this level. It just got a nice little bump up off 102. Look at the buy, 101.85 down there. We've been buying dips in Disney. There's a dip. I don't know, we just defended 102 there. That didn't really work too much. But then that one was a good one at 101.80, back up there, making about 40, 50 cents. So Disney's a well-traded, well-profitable name for me here today, so let's not try to throw it away. DIS right now trying to work.
Yeah, Disney trying. I think Disney, that look off 100 has been fantastic. Like that's the kind of level, like if it just lazily holds around there for the next like few weeks, you can trade it like every single day. Remember, like Rivian held $10 for like a month, where you could have really just been trading it on almost a daily basis. Not always exactly $10, but I mean adjacent to it. And that's the general idea. Like it's not exactly 100 long today. It's something different. It's like 101.90 or 102. But the idea being when you got support, you want to take advantage of it. Like on that little push to the downside, we're able to get some out of AMD. But like the range, as I said, it's been relatively tight. This is a 30 to 40 cent range. The top of it's 50s. The bottom of it is right now 159.20. So when it bounces off that bottom, takes them out. If it breaks it, I think you can get down to 158.80. I just feel like this is a little bit weaker than some of the other chip names out there. That's why I like it a little bit better. There's a couple of questions in the chat. One was what are my thoughts on CVX? I'll get to that in a second, but then there was another one. Do imbalances come out at 8:30 in the morning? So if you have the imbalance feed, when we look at things in the afternoon, that's the closing auction. The opening auction orders, for the NASDAQ, you don't see anything till 9:20. But for the New York, there's one, like ASTI, this is from the morning on the NASDAQ, but you will see opening auction imbalances that come out very early for the New York stocks. For the NASDAQ stocks, you're waiting until like 10 minutes before the close. But for New York, you will see that. But it's opening auction. Closing auction, you're not going to see any data. We get an early look here, BRKR. These are names that have like updates, like Ford right now is indicating a sell. Maybe it comes out of 3 million sell, 350. But right now it's indicating a sell. Visa is indicating a sell. The warrants on FFIE apparently have an imbalance. I didn't even know FFIE had warrants. What was a penny stock doing with, anyway, it doesn't matter. We got a question about DJT for warrants. The only thing I care about warrants as a day trader, because why would you ever trade that over the actual equity, is sometimes during a halt, you can observe how the warrants are still trading if it's open, but that hasn't been relevant in a while. But it used to be back when it was DWAC. When it was DWAC, that was very relevant. Like that would halt and you could watch DWAC warrants for price action.
Okay. Yeah, just like we have Brian Shannon on tonight, so it should be a good show to have him come through. We talk crypto with him. We talk about a lot of stuff with Brian. So come check that out tonight with Brian Shannon on the Market Recap Show. Okay. Okay, so we did get some out on JP Morgan. We're still waiting for Nvidia. So this was a new trade here on JP Morgan, and it just fell into those levels, so we did take some out. It's not like it was a huge trade. We're short at 54s. We got 38s. So 18 cents. Actually, I guess it's not bad overall, considering the moves. It hasn't been much here in the afternoon, as much as anything, actually, in the afternoon. That Disney was good, but look at that. It's even better than it is right now. Wow, nice move up for Disney. I didn't even realize that. So we'll see if we can get it out there in and around 20. There we go. All right. I kind of feel like
the House of Mouse has gone.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is a good one.
Oh, shoot, I forget the name of the guy.
And I mean, look at this. We actually have it right here on our sticky note today. We can't hear. I'll show it to everybody. Go find it at Trader TV Sean. But we can't do anything too much different than exactly what we did here with these prices. 101.50 to 102. So right there for Disney. If you make the bottom today, 101.50. 102. The bottom is 77. That's right in the middle, and that's where we got that long. So a nice little trade back to the upside. It's really nice when things work out, and they did do that for sure on Disney. So far, so good there. Now let's see what happens as Nvidia is starting to go back up. We'll wait. Good out on VWAP. We'll wait for that. JP Morgan falls right back in again. That's awesome. Let's see if we can take 20 cents on this one. There it is. Oh, yeah, buddy. We'll spin it for this. JP Morgan, another one. So again, the only losing stock we'll have all day today is going to be Nvidia. Unless JP Morgan really falls out. We're out of 30% of JP Morgan. Let's see how far down we need to go now on this name. So again, so far so good here. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed everything. The show's not over. It's only 3:17.
We still got time in the day, but you got to trade what's in front of you. And as I said, if the range is the range, you take the range. So we're back at the bottom of the range on AMD. I'm on the bid. But remember we talked about Tesla?
Disney.
Consolidation. Yeah, Tesla broke higher, so it started to go short. It trapped shorts in there, and now it's really starting to run. So if the shorts are trapped underneath 187, I want to go long, pull back into this 187 on Tesla. I thought maybe you'd get something on a dip into VWAP. As you can tell, or anybody looking at this chart can tell, VWAP is a long ways away. So if we continue the trend up, the next stop to me would be a pullback into previous highs, into the high of the day. So Tesla continues to go 2.5% to the upside and still churning. There's not much outside of Disney putting in that candle and Tesla putting in that candle that seems to be making a really big move just now. So you go over to the names that are going. You know, if you're in something, fine, but if you're looking for something new, you want something that moves because there's only so much time left in the day for that continuation. And Tesla definitely making a pretty good move. IK just asked, BTC still going down or an uptrend from now? The problem with that is you always have to qualify your time frame. In a long enough time frame, Bitcoin is in an upward trend. But if you're talking about it just today, it's always a different story. I'm going to look at IBIT just because that's the ETF that we prefer, especially for trading here. I would venture you're in an upward trend on the day today, but it's not a good one. This is a ranged, 100% range-bound trade. It's up, and you can call it an upward trend, but that's really loose. Essentially, you've got 35 and you've got 35.50. It's a defined bottom and a defined top. When I see something like that, the trade is either at one of those key points. If it's trending, like I'll give you an idea of what a real upward trend looks like. Like CCL is in an upward trend. It might be consolidating now, but it's in a real upward trend. You know, you have an up move, which is a range trade on Bitcoin. So I'm not touching it. CCL, by the way, it dipped in. I missed that reload off of the trend line, but it might break it here. And if it does break it, I'm jumping out of this trade. So if it gets down on like 77s or so, I'll pull out of the trade, maybe wait for VWAP or something, if there's even time for that kind of a dip on Carnival. But I'd like to be seeing Tesla get back into this 187 to see if we can pick something up.
All right. By the way, JP Morgan's doing pretty good. Nice drip down. Really glad that we found this one, man. This was a good one. We just sort of looked around, man. We found one that we liked. Underneath the 50, underneath the 200, boom. So that's a good trade there. I mean, we're still holding out that Nvidia does something, but kind of losing my patience. Rivian, let's go. Right now for Rivian. Like, we can get out of JP Morgan now with a 10-cent hit, but okay. All right. Thank you for that, Ramin, as we are testing audio equipment. So, all right, just real quick, right here, NVIDIA and Rivian. So Rivian is at $12. We're long here at $11.11. So it is a good little movement back up to the upside. Our stop was right into here, $11.85. As you can see, let's just up that. Why not just stop out if it comes back into $11.94? So here we go, man. This is going to be another big trade for result. That might have blasted the ears right there. But hopefully Rivian will be able to come out right there. We'll pay attention to that. Palantir still 40 cents. JP Morgan now even lower, baby. We still have on board 60% of this trade. Looking to get out more at 198.15. And then there it goes. Again, well discussed, well described. JP Morgan hopefully pulling back in to the downside. It's this Nvidia that's really just going to be the bothering of myself there. We did get out of Apple, so that was a long that we did have. Good out there. That was $1 and change off that bottom pick. So again, things working out for us, just not with NVDA yet.
Yeah, it's really matriculating toward that high. The only reason I went over AMD is just like the relative weakness, but I can't get back in. We took the bottom of the range. I just can't get the 159 halves again as it's starting to roll over a little bit. So neither one of these had a look imbalances. I'm talking about the chip names. Tesla is really, it's now consolidating up at that top. So sitting underneath where it's consolidating doesn't make sense. If it's a consolidation at this price and it breaks it down, you don't want to get long underneath that unless it's going on the way back up. So I have to find a different entry on Tesla. And CCL is going to lose the trend at least. You know what? It's losing it for good. I'm not going to quibble about it. I said if it broke trend, I just typed Tesla again. I said if it broke the trend line, I would just get out. Well, that's it. You wait for it to do a definitive move. There's the test underneath. There's the definitive break of the trend line. I'm not reversing it to the short. There's situations where maybe I would, but let's look for VWAP in there. I'm going to focus on Tesla and AMD, Amazon. Those are still working to the short side, but it's Tesla now holding a lot higher. I don't want to punch through the top here. I'd like to get something on a dip. When stocks are moving 50 cents at a time, popping the top of the 50-cent range is not always the best way to go at 323 here. Roscoe saying MLGO is going again. I'm going to put it up. Maybe I'll put it up where I had CCL and have a look. MLGO has been a good runner, but last I had checked, it was kind of stalling out in the teens, in the high teens. It's trying to break VWAP again. I can see that 17 level. I thought that I kind of left it for dead. And it is going legitimate. MLGO is going, but I'm looking at Tesla right now. So it's above VWAP. Usually that's a good thing. Could be breaking 17. It has been a good stock today if you found the right place for a long when it made that double bottom as well. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's above the halt price to the upside. Just try to remember what happened at 20 bucks. It was a huge fail at 20. I tried to short it and couldn't even get in. That's how fast it flushed.
All right. Yeah, good little look there. These stocks, when they go, they go. And talking about fast flushes with MLGO, I mean, that's probably a perfect example there. You never know where these stocks are going to go at any time. And MLGO is a good example of that. What a great move. I mean, so many people made so much money off that. So a good one and way to identify it. Congrats, Chef Joe. I mean, you're right, man. Here comes another run into the close for NVIDIA. So we still don't even have like on our biggest position that we've had on all day here on NVIDIA. It's just like I'm taking like a couple shares here, a couple shares there, but really haven't gotten anything out in the last Where were these outs? This was 10. So in the last 15 minutes, it's just been straight up. So I don't feel like these averages in, we're able to get them out. So that's why, like, when I'm looking over, I'm not seeing like a huge position yet, but we are thinking about 126 and just don't really want to lose that. So that will be the stop. And again, big time shout out to everybody out there. Whoops. Oh yeah, our charts still have to fix that, which they won't. But 126, I guess, as a break. I mean, maybe it's even at 126.08, but by the time we get up there, it's going to be Mr. Irrelevant because the amount of pennies that's going to matter, it's probably not. Look at this. Remember we said it's going into meme mode here? I mean, I really feel like you could sort of get that sense when you're watching it, that it just keeps like coiling up and then just goes and just wipes out the bids, or wipes out the asks. And look at this, it's not even stopping. The NASDAQ really isn't doing anything. It's even, if anything, pulling back in, but not NVIDIA. So great job there, anybody that's been holding this one into the close. It's been a beast, man, beast. Up 6%, so we're learning more and more every day about NVIDIA, and that is that you gotta buy these dips. Play the short when the short is there, but do not fight trends. We're short at 125.35 here on NVIDIA, not good.
Yeah, when I said not good about SMCI, I almost want to double down on that. Like, NVIDIA is going to go to the highs, and SMCI is not moving at all. Won't budge. I'm not shorting that because AMD is the one I've chosen. Why is that AMC? AMD is the one I've chosen. I'm still trying to get these fills up at the 40 level. So if we can get it, great. If you're continuously taking highs elsewhere, then just go for something which maybe isn't. So there's your MLGO. I wanted to put the chart up so you can really see. Super strong. This is actually picking up steam as it's going. So the volume, hard to see, but there you go. See that? Like, it's the biggest volume candle on this little mini breakout here through $17 or into $17, and then a continuation. So you want to see volume on late day, low float runners, whatever the heck we're calling them these days, and that's what you're getting in MLGO. I'm not buying any tops. I think if it does a pullback, 16 half. The only trades, all right. I actually didn't get a chance to talk about this one, but MLGO was a good stock for the one long I had, but I did have a fail on this. So the halt price, it halted down. I did not get the flush on the halt, but then it came back in, wicked the halt price. I shorted underneath the halt price when it came back down. I was like, oh, that's too early, Neil. Let's see what happens at that price. So I just got in and kind of flatted it. When it gave me flat, I was like, I'll take it. Let's just get out flat. And this is after we finished at this time of the day, you guys know at 11 o'clock, we were talking with Kevin O'Leary. It then made the move that I was looking for right in here when we were doing our Q&A with Kevin O'Leary. It's not an excuse, it's just the truth. And it did that move. It did another test of the whole price, tagged it by like 5 cents, and then flushed to the downside. That was the short I was looking for. It's a complete fail to have not gotten back into it, but we always talk about the opportunity cost, and I didn't mention that at the time, because obviously we're a little bit busy with Kevin, and by the time we get finished with Kevin, it had already happened. Like, it was done. It was like $1 away. But yeah, that was a fail. I got in and out flat, should have gotten back in. Tesla pulling back in here, so I've got it in front of 187.40. I got a reload on AMD in front of 159.5. It cannot seem to break 159.15, so I'm going to get a bid out in front of the 20s on advanced micro devices. So that's only 2 new positions we're in. Tesla long. I'm not actually in that MLGO. Just going over some levels. But if I lose 159.60, the NASDAQ just took the highs. Yeah, that was probably an ill-advised reload. Didn't need to have it, but if we lose 60s, then we just got to jump out of that trade. Market is now flying to the upside. Don't want to give too much back on AMD. It was relatively weak for a while. Suddenly, it's looking pretty darn strong. And the only long I have on is just getting into Tesla 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, there we go again on NVIDIA. So we actually got punched out below 126, which was 120, doesn't matter, 125.98. We were able to get something out in the 60s, but it just kept on going upside. So there it goes, man. NVIDIA will be the red stock for me today and carrying the whole day. So unfortunately, now you can't go short NVIDIA. It is gone, and we had written down 125. We gave it to 126, so that was a try and a fail there on NVIDIA as it just keeps on going higher and higher. Apple probably, no. See, it's like it's just NVIDIA right there. So, wow, that's funny that Apple's not going, and this is looking like this as the futures are back up to 19.98. So this is probably... It's too bad. It's too bad that we just picked the wrong name. Nvidia really going and Apple not doing anything. So I actually don't mind this one. We were able to get something else more out on JP Morgan. Oh man, that Nvidia is now 126.35 and still going, still putting respect on itself's head. Wow, up now 7%. This is a $3 trillion. Like the amount of money that's been put back into this stock today is absolutely incredible. So again, a nice move up. Maybe we just short the futures 19.98 right there on the TQs. But again, a nice move up. Short doesn't seem to be right, except for Apple maybe, as that's trying to push down again here right now against the 50 period maybe. Or Amazon.
MLGO just pushed down a little bit here. So, we didn't want to take any highs. We always talk about this. I'm not punching highs on low flow runner at the end of the day. I'd rather buy a dip, tighter stop, more reasonable risk. So here it dips in. The whole price from earlier, when you look over here in terms of 16.20, and it's making higher lows out in front of that. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. I had a sneeze, and again, I mute myself when I sneeze. I didn't turn it back on. So MLGO dipping, I was just describing, low on a long in front of that previous hull price, 16.20. It just dipped into the 50s. That's where I'm sitting, looking for the quick dip and rip in MLGO here. I'm still in Amazon, and I'm just trailing it. But MLGO just popped in, so I was able to get that fill right in front of the 50 level. I'm only giving it to that 20. I'm not going to hold it all the way into VWAP. Tesla's also starting to go, but MLGO never trade without a stop. I'm using the 20 level just because I like the halt level. So if you like it, be it better than that, and you don't want a tight stop, then you don't want to follow me trading the stock. Like I traded it for a 30-cent stop in here the first time, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing. That's the kind of entry that I want on a stock like this, where you can get and hold for the bigger move, and you can have a reasonable risk to reward down there. So let's see what happens. I am still in Amazon, but I'm trying to get that 187 out. It's 3:30, so let's get a look at the board with Adara.
Today we're going to take a look at some of the names that have made bigger moves that we maybe haven't discussed as much on the S&P 500. One of them is going to be Enphase, which took quite the tumble day, down more than 5%. We did have SolarEdge falling as well, so some other weaknesses in the solar space, but Enphase itself, ENPH, getting a sell rating from DLJ Research and a 45.82 price target, currently above $100, so quite the steep price target cut there for GLG Research for ENPH here. Next up, we have Home Depot. This one really weak on the day, along with a lot of these other building-related names. We do have Pool Corp, POOL, lowering its full year 2024 EPS forecast, issuing a warning. So lots of these builders having some struggles today with regards to the macroeconomic environment, including HD. Last but not least, we have Norfolk Southern. This one recovering a little bit here, but still down on the day. The National Transportation Safety Board holding a meeting to discuss a train derailment and some toxic chemicals. Also, this one getting a price target decrease from Susquehanna and Wells Fargo. Some interesting stories today. A lot of these weaker on the day, guys.
All right, we flipped up our game here. We talked about going short Apple, so now we're 15 cents in the money on that one. And we've just gotten some out at 84s, or 86s and 84s now for Apple. So again, we picked the wrong name to short. That's all. If we were short Apple, we would have been laughing, but NVIDIA just goes all the way to the upside. And NVIDIA is still going. It's at 126.20. It did, I shouldn't say still going. It kind of stopped up here at 30s. And I was like, oh, should I short it? But no, then I just looked over. I was like, oh my God, Apple's in the money. So let's stick with that, as that's been working for sure on that short. We're going to give this back to the 50 period, which is 20. I mean, we could give it back to 33s, but let's just give it back into the 50 period in case that does happen. That's a position that we're looking at right now. Apple to the short side. The thing is, imbalances are in 17 minutes. So
just a little bit less than
we don't really know where we're going.
I want to quickly answer Urso. Like every trader you got to trade your own levels and stops, especially if you're trading different stocks, right? Like if I'm trading AMD and Yashan's trading Nvidia, or one of you guys is trading SMCI, those things don't always move in concert. So you got to be watching the stock that you're trading. Like I already told you guys, like look at MLG. Here's a perfect example. Like I said on MLGO, like what I was looking for. Okay, is it being too nitpicky to want a really tight stop and have it go? It worked before, so it's like all well and good when it does work, but understand, to have that tight stop and lose small there to try to get a bigger move, sometimes this is going to happen to me, and it's probably this will happen to me more than a trader that doesn't have a style of execution that way. But if you want to have that little like bottom wick off a level like that, then you're willing to have it stop out and maybe got to try it again. So I'm out of MLGO. It was relatively tight stop. It would have worked if I had held on to it. But then I have to ask myself, if I'm not stopping it there, I feel like the next level is 15.50. And I don't want to be long 16.5 into 15.50. Because if it drops $1, the slippage to me in the afternoon is bigger than $1 on these kinds of stocks. Because if you wait for it to break the big level in the afternoon on a low float runner, that's where it can go into one of those parabolic halts. And I don't want any part of those ever when I'm chasing along, which I think you're chasing along on a stock like this. So again, you just got to have your own idea and your own stop levels. And this is the case where it doesn't work out. I'll show you one that does, one that doesn't, with a similar pattern. I wish I could tell you that Tesla was breaking out of this range, but it's not. So it's gone from one consolidation of about 50 cents to another consolidation of about 50 cents, which I know is not exciting, but it was going. I defend wanting to look at Tesla, but it's now stopped moving and it's trying to break in to the downside here. So we might have to get out of that one. You see me just get out of Amazon. That did just go into the downside, but Tesla does not want to hold on to this channel, unfortunately. So we're going to break the quarters. I'm jumping out of it. No more position. Well, I'm not saying no more positions, but I'm now out. Tesla does not hold its consolidation level. Thankfully, Amazon did get to 187.20, which was the local bottom, so we're able to tag that one. We're in at 187.80, and then the range, it took a while to get down to the downside. So if we get into something new, it might be AMD again. I looked over at where I stopped out. I defended. I was shorting off the lower high, broke the lower high. It got into 159.80. I keep wanting it to get to 160. I think that's the good level for me. That's where I had my best trade on it. But sometimes you anchor yourself to something like that, where because I had a good trade off 160, I'm thinking 160 should be the thing, when it's just showed me 159.80 as the price. So again, all roads have to lead to an actual plan of action that makes sense to you. And sometimes you're going to get it exactly right or exactly wrong. I think it was the right place to get out, but it wasn't necessarily the right place to look to get back in on AMD, because I was waiting for that 160 level where we had it before.
Yeah, good talk there about some AMD right there. Look, that's what we keep talking about losing money. There's like 4 positive traders on the floor, right? I mean, we talk about this. This is why 90-something% of the traders wind up losing money. You got to be disciplined. You got to make sure that whatever mistakes you make today, you try not to make them tomorrow, right? And I had already said on Nvidia that I had sort of, this does not look great, all these shorts, and eventually we did get stopped out. But this is why we take some out, or else it could have been absolutely disastrous. So again, thanks for that comment. But then look, this is where, again, back to the same kind of talk. As experience hits, look what happens. We go from making a red trade to just putting money right back in our pocket. The very next trade is, again, Apple. And Apple by far is the #1 P&L name, just as Nvidia is by far the #1 losing P&L name, right? But this Apple, we just got right back into it to the short side when we realized that it wasn't reacting the same way as the futures, right? So, oh man, I was like, maybe I should just short the futures instead of Nvidia. I guess we should have done that as well. But again, hindsight, right? So there's a nice move back in, 209.80 and change. Let's see what winds up happening now, as hopefully Apple can come back in. Rivian still in the pocket. JP Morgan, by the way. I mean, again, look, for everything that we do there on it, we have one red name today, Nvidia. That's it. Apple up, CCL up, Disney up, JP Morgan up, Palantir up, Rivian up. And I'm going to sit here and be like, oh man, I made a mistake on Nvidia. Yeah, that's completely fine. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk and see what Miss A is up to.
Just be aware, we have GameStop as we head into the last 20 minutes of the day, making new highs of day, getting its strongest volume candle here. No news, but lots of social media attention in the last few minutes. GME continuing to break new highs, pushing up above 2450s here, guys.
GME, I see everybody talking about GME.
Yeah, it's like when you don't. There was a Roaring Kitty. I just saw there was a Roaring Kitty tweet. Oh goodness, you know what? It doesn't matter. He tweets videos and pictures and interesting stuff like that. All that matters is it is absolutely tearing to the upside. It bounced off VWAP, but that doesn't matter from a technical standpoint. 2480 to 25 was yesterday's high. I suppose if it punches through that, it's already 340. Sheesh. Yeah, no. No high of the day breaks on GME at 340. I guess if it's going to do something, it would have to be back into like 24 even. That's even a ways away here. What Catalyst is just a tweet, but it's moved it before. It bounced off 23, which to me puts you in a bit of a bullish sense looking for longs off it. But I was in that dip, and it got all the way into VWAP, and I guess VWAP was a thing. That's a trade where if you happen to be in it, that's great. That's why you sit in a stock like this sometimes. Like you leave a little bit for the dream, because the dream is that Roaring Kitty tweets while you're in position. He didn't tweet when I was in position, but what the heck does he care? So good for anybody that's in this stock. I can't imagine that it's going to last forever, though, because we've seen essentially what's been happening at and above $25 on this stock. So just be careful with it.
Now it looks crooked.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was not straight.
I think Ram just messes with you sometimes. She's like, let's just have Sean move the mic.
Ram. I think
I remember it once a day.
Ram.
Okay. Mine's always crooked, and no one says anything to me. See, it's crooked right now.
Okay, so Apple right there. Let's go. Like we said, man, just get right back in that saddle, baby. And here we go. So it's a nice little move right now to the downside for Apple. Look at that. So there's the cash there. You know, we're not going to forget who we are, man. I mean, we're still putting on these trades and hopefully being able to explain them and give you guys some great ideas, including this one. Look at JP Morgan. So Rivian, we might as well. I mean, Rivian right now is getting close. We're getting out at 94 break, right? So very, very close to getting out of Rivian right now. Look at this Rivian trade here today. What about Palantir? You got so today, man. I mean, Apple PL1, Palantir PL2, Disney PL3, Nvidia minus PL, the worst one of all time. But look at this Palantir. You know, NFTable. I mean, maybe is that a word? Look at what we're doing right here. Bottom and top, right there for our friend, our good friend, Mr. Karp and Friends. Palantir. So I like that stock. We'll keep that on the radar again. Was a good sticky note name for us, but you know, getting a little bit bored of it right now as we still hold the same percentage. It's not moving. Was waiting for it to do something. We'll probably wind up getting out there on the imbalance. We talked about Rivian. We talked about JP Morgan. So the only thing left to do is Apple. We just got some more out down there on Apple. We now have less than half of that left. We just got something else. Oh yeah. The Kool-Aid guy says, oh yeah. JP Morgan, man, hit the sirens on that short as well. So, yeah, to say things are going well would be right. So, there it is, a nice pushback down in. The only thing that's a big L is Nvidia, but everything else is cruising. So, we'll be back tomorrow with only 2 more days left. Obi will be in for me on Friday. And then all next week, you'll have Obi and Neil to give you the bangers. So, yeah, it should be a fun one. Oh, that was what came out.
Correction. Oh. I just wanted to correct. Roaring Kitty didn't tweet. I saw a couple of people in the chat say that he tweeted, and then I looked over. I didn't see it and just figured, oh, maybe I didn't refresh his page. But I went to the X page, his X page, just now, and I couldn't find it either. So it's going for other reasons that I can't even explain. Big shout out to Obi, who will be stepping in later on this week a couple of times. Here comes 160. We're running out of time for one last salvo into AMD. I don't know if we're able to get it at that 160 level, but this is what we waited for. So if it's going to curl up here, we're going to take another shot. AMD has been a good stock for me, despite the fact, like, I know we always talk about this, don't fight the trend. Obviously today, I've only been short AMD. You just adhere to your stop levels, wait for the key prices, all that good stuff. And the reason why, because I think it matters, it's just the daily trend is to the downside. So I have been looking for shorts when this daily trend is so clearly into the downside, and that's what we see in AMD. So when it gets to this 159.80 level and turns around yet again, I want to be looking for some shorts there. Dan McIsaac saying 1 million just hit on calls in the option market. So there you go. There's your potential catalyst. I'm not going to say that with certainty, but appreciate you posting that. Obviously, it's a pretty sizable move there in GameStop. I elected to say not going to punch in these highs. 25 and 26 are resistance. Probably needs to bounce off a 24 level. But we've run out of time, I think, as a day trader to want to have that trade. Just going to cancel some stop orders that I realize I do not need to still have out there. There's absolutely no need for that. AMD, if you try to get it on the way down, sometimes it looks like this. Like it skirts to the upside, you're looking for it to get into the level and then catch it on the way back down instead of on the way up. If on the way up, I might be in position, but I'm trying to get it in the 80s after it shows me a curl. So relatively strong stock, get it where it makes sense. Do not try to fight it at all. Yeah, I see some jokes things being put in the chat there with regards to GameStop. I'll leave that one alone. It was a big move earlier on MLGO. Good thing we got out of it. If I had held on, yeah, maybe we get 17s, but it's right back into 16. So I'd be put to the exact same decision if I hadn't walked away from that stock. And Amazon is the other name looking maybe for a short into the close here. Yeah, this is starting to get spicy. So it broke support at 187.20, but that's not the flat bottom break. No, the flat bottom break is 187 even here on Amazon. You guys can see it on the chart. Oh no, you can't because it's on, there we go. You guys can see it on the chart. 187, I was in a short consolidation and it stopped right at 187. If it breaks it here, I'm gonna look for the continuation play here on Amazon. We were shorted earlier, this is a different beast. Amazon failed a high at 191, almost to the T yesterday. And I've been saying it's a short, when a stock does that, breaks out into an all-time high, rejects the all-time high, trends down. If it holds a lower high, I'm just looking trend short until it does something really strong. I would not define this move as super strong because it couldn't hold above that 188. So there's it breaking evens, gets right to 99 in there. I was in it before, we jumped out. We're gonna end up having to, like we get out at 20s only to get back in on an even break, but that's because that's where the support is. So we're gonna respect it. We get down to 60s and 70s, gotta take some profit on AMZN. So relatively weak name. Market is was pressing the highs, and Amazon's under VWAP and pulling back in. To me, that's a reason to like the stock to the short side. If you can, and it's not always the case, if you can just be short weak stocks and long strong stocks, that can be the way to go. But you know what? Stocks get to big, massive levels. If it's a big resistance level, it's usually getting there because it's a strong stock. So that's not a tried and tested rule. And you can be getting to big support levels, like a buy the dip on Nvidia most times. Well, you're gonna have to do that sometimes flying in the face of the trend. So it's not always something where you can just short stocks that are going down and go long stocks that are going up. I don't think it's that simple. Amazon, I think that's the last trade we'll have on before we get the imbalances. For now, 187.20 is my out. That was that previous support, so take a breakdown, stop it out at 187.20, pretty simple. I'm tightening that up when we get to 350, because when the imbalances come out, I think all bets are off, especially if you get like if there's a big buy imbalance, I want to tighten stops up. If it's a big sell imbalance, then it just kind of works in your favor. Nothing on the early look at this moment. So you got nothing like Ford, Kenvue, which is there every single day, Pfizer, which is a bit of a sell. Not a heck of a lot going on there. But we're going to stay in the pocket. That's what's been working for me, so I want to make sure that we stick to our plan, regardless of how your day is going, as Sean said. Like, you just got to stick to whatever works for you. Make the next trade, not just any old trade, is the way to go. And I'm going to cancel AMD. Might not get it here. As the market came down again, AMD, not much of a flush. I didn't get it at the price we wanted. Not going to chase the move. So we might just have to sit this one out. With 2 minutes to go to the imbalances, that's not when I'm going to chase the AMD move. If I missed it, I missed it. At least we got Amazon here heading down lower. And MLGO is dropping. That's why we get away from it. When these runners are running, that's great. When they break the trend to the upside, the candles can be pretty harsh. It's now only up 2% on the day, believe it or not. This stock was once up like 35, 40% MLGO. Now it's flat. Effectively. 2% is good for other stocks, not for MLGO.
No. Well, there's almost imbalances, so we can just chill out. No, I was just thinking like, okay, now Nvidia wants to turn around? No, we've done too much damage to our own personal account right there. Here today with that one. All right, Apple, good fill there with only a couple more minutes left. Let's wait to see what happens with these imbalances. Here they come. We're not expecting too much from these here today. It's not like a rebalance day or anything. Let's just get rid of this. Clear that, and then we'll wait. So in a matter of a minute, 30 seconds, these will all update and then say 350 instead of 930, which was the last time that they were all executed off the open, except for Nvidia, I guess, which says 929.59. So, all right, so we'll wait for 350 for that to come in. Here's Apple, made a move back in, so that's all good. Let's put another bid down here at 83 and see if we can catch those. There it is, so that's a good one. And then the next trade to come through, we already got stopped out of Rivian. We talked about that. Let's just wait to see what hits. FFIE, I know Neil was in that for a little bit. I'm not sure if anything's going on with it now. Was down to 22, up to 26, 28 right now. Yeah, so we'll have to wait to see what happens here with FFIE trying to come in again. So Again, maybe something, maybe not. That's something that we're looking at with only now 40 seconds to go. Nvidia 126 still holding out. We are short on Apple. This is the biggest position right now, so we might as well wait for that. And JP Morgan, oh damn. I mean, is this not what we're looking for here? Giving you guys this JP Morgan trade, which is now 80 cents in the money. I mean, sure, we can lose 80 cents on Nvidia because we always trade that one. It looks like, oh my God, what are we even doing? But look at this. Just a little undercover play right there. JP Morgan all of a sudden goes to like P&L 3 or 4 right there, and we only made this trade at 3 o'clock. So it just goes to show you, you got to pick the right names at the right time. And here we go. The imbalances are now out, so we'll have to watch out here. Apple.
Whoa, that must be a sell imbalance.
Must be. Apple with a nice push down. Let's go, man. We are spinning that cash right now on Apple. Nice move down on Apple right now. P&L 1 gets P&L bigger. It's Apple with the downside push.
Yeah, that just eliminated LFT. We went down a dollar candle on Amazon. And Amazon, look, I was on the bid when it came out. $5 million to the sell side. Nvidia, $2 million to the sell side. Google is a buy. Well, Google's a buy at 1.5 million. Apple's a buy of 1 million as well. So it's actually pretty mixed. I was expecting all sells. Amazon, weird that it would be 5 million to sell. We've seen Nvidia before. I do not remember seeing Amazon at all. But 5 million to the downside is pretty significant for this name. FFIE, I don't really see it. I see the warrants in there, but I don't see the actual FFIE. Apple a buy and balance and Google a buy and balance. Google had a really good day today, relatively speaking. It just broke the high of the day as well.
Yeah, we can. I mean, although we'll get hit there on Nvidia. Look at Apple. I mean, there we go, man. I mean, again, we turn it around. These trades today: Rivian, Palantir, JP Morgan, Disney. I mean, this Disney trade again, CCL. Buying this dip, just a day of a lot of opportunity here one more time. So again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. I'm going to be going over for the recap show at 3:55 or so, maybe a little bit after that. So right now, what else is moving? Let's just check out those imbalances to see if there was anything unique at all over here on those. As again, not a huge day, but that was a good call there for Amazon. So nice one on that one. That's flat flushed completely. That was the other name. Remember I was saying Amazon or Apple. I chose Apple, but the Amazon looks like a monster flush there as that's through tracing again from all-time highs. Another name that we own. We own all these names anyways, and probably too many of them. There's Google. We sort of focused on that. There's those warrants for FFIE, Ford, Pfizer. Yuck on Pfizer. Kenvue. Starbucks with a sell. Darn it, too bad we missed that one at $72 as well. That was definitely a missed opportunity there. But there's Starbucks today down 1%. We'll review all these names as we get ready for the recap show. And then there's Micron. So Micron again, 1%. So that's a nice little move there for Micron as well, heading into earnings tomorrow. So wow, all right, man, we are really starting to go now. Let's put them up, man. I mean, a big trade alert for Apple today, and just really happy with the performance there on AAPL as we get right into once again the day's low. Let's put a bid out there, take the fill at 30s. And we'll still hold on to a little piece. JP Morgan also, Palantir also. Yeah, Nvidia now, of course, is now below 126, but a little too late in the day for me to trade that.
Roscoe, the answer is yes. Like MLGO has been a good stock. I only traded it the three times. You're just asking if I was up on MLGO. It should have been way better because, as I mentioned, that short opportunity was better than the long, and I did like it. But as I said, I got it out flat, looked for a re-entry, and then got distracted, which can happen during trading. But that short was much, much better than any long. The only long that was better than short there would have been just for some reason you liked it at the open. But as I said, I flatted the trade, didn't get back into it. There was that sell imbalance, as we mentioned. Every single time we say this, at 350, when a big imbalance comes out at 355, expect a major pairing event. Amazon's already paired off 1.6 million of that 5.5. And the total pair is like 11. So huge open interest. It's already chewed through 2/3 of it. Nvidia's 2 million to the buy side. Apple's now a sell. Apple was a buy. Now it's a sell of 1.4. Apple seems to be doing that recently. No matter what Apple comes out as, check back in about 1 minute after 350 and see if it's still a strong buy. Because often it's flipping to a sell, which would indicate that they're throwing orders into the auction regardless of direction to the sell side on an almost daily basis on that stock. Google's still a buy. That looks pretty strong. And as mentioned, that MLGO back down at VWAP. GameStop really was the one this afternoon. Guess where it is? Almost pressing that 25 again. It's a GME kind of afternoon. I think that puts it squarely on the radar tomorrow if it can hold this level.
All right, dollar there on Apple as it continues to go down. Oh, man, oh, man. Palantir, we got out of Palantir as well. Our whole day is basically ruined by NVIDIA, which sucks. And we sort of told you, like, as we were taking this trade, I was like, oh, man, it's going to just keep going. And remember, I was like, oh, it's entering meme phase. And that's exactly, like, as soon as all these huge buys came in, it was easy to get away from it. We got out of it at 126. But we could have got out of it right here, 125.23. So this is the area right there once we broke there. But again, we wrote down 125. So, you know, we were fine with an area stop, giving it $1. Giving it $1. So again, when you play to win, and there they won. NVIDIA wins. But what's winning right now is, again, another dollar club coming through there. $1.10 now in the money on Apple. And we're doing it again on Apple. I mean, we did this on Friday. It was a fantastic trade to the downside, and here goes Apple again, just completely falling apart into the close. And we just sort of did the easy stuff there. Right? It was down against the market. It was holding underneath. We really liked it. We had some levels to protect. Unlike what we did there on NVIDIA, when there was really nothing, it was above. During all of this, it was above the 200, above the 50. So, yeah, we'll learn, man. I mean, even doing what we're doing now, we're going to learn more and more and more. There's Apple. That's out of there. It's P&L number 1 by 5x. So that's good. JP Morgan right there. Downside, still 55 cents in the money. We did get a nice little bounce off that day's low, so watch out for that tomorrow. 197.80 coming into play for JP Morgan. NBA draft is not tonight, it's tomorrow, I think, the 26th or the 25th.
I usually watch the draft. I'm not interested.
Yeah, nobody is.
Like, there's no,
literally the worst draft, I believe, of all time.
There was
for hype. I haven't, in my whole existence, there's never been a time where I've been less interested in a draft.
I know I can say that's true for me, but there was, I forget the year, but somebody way back, it's not way back, but it was like a month or so ago when they were talking about how bad this draft was, they pointed out another year. And I remember reading it kind of like really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that was a pretty bad year too, but I'd have to go back and look at it to see if it truly was that lacking of talent. But my goodness.
I mean, that's after the fact. Like these guys could be studs. I have no idea. I'm just saying, like, going into it, it doesn't look.
It's because, like, nobody knows. The top two guys are like two dudes from France, and they're not Wembies. Like, they're not, like there's no Luka Doncic, there's no Wembanyama. It's a couple of guys from France, and no one's gotten to see play. Like, you want to see. There's a reason Caitlin Clark's going nuts, because everyone watched her. She's great, and everyone saw her in college. That's you want to see people in the NCAA tournament. Nobody from that tournament is featuring in the top 5 that anyone knows. So with only 3 minutes to go here, we said you're probably going to get a pair off. You guys know everything paired off. Amazon paired and popped about $1 on that at 355. That's what happens to these stocks. It tagged a low. I think you got to look for Amazon as a short going into tomorrow. I'm glad we didn't pull the trigger. Eventually you give up. Like, it's either you get the move at the time you want it, right in here, which I didn't, cancel the order. AMD suddenly wants to go green on the day. In the midst of all of that tanking, AMD is about to go higher and really threatening to close up on the session. It's putting a small dent in the downward trend, but for what it's worth, it's going to hold the 50 period here. I don't know that you get away from finding a trend area to short it tomorrow, but a good look for that. And I ignored, I don't know, I can't speak for the midday. Chewy making fresh highs as well going into the close. This was another big time runner. GameStop, Chewy, they got something in common. I think you guys know all about that. Don't know if this is the same thing as GameStop running, but a bit of a squeeze late in the day here. Chewy getting through the $30 level. I wanted to show you the daily chart. Blue sky set up here for Chewy. And that just means it's already made a significant break, and there's really nothing of any worth out here above 30. Like, there's 30, and I suppose you say 35. 30 and then 35. It'll be a big test if it can hold this $30 level. But Carvana went under the radar, could make a big breakout tomorrow, 129 on the weekly. Chewy, this 30 level would be it. So if it holds this, it's got $5 room to the next level. So we got to put that on the list as well. I guess the squeeze names are back a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. especially with GameStop going and then Bitcoin bouncing off 60,000 is a good one there. I mean, look, this is why you get huge moves into the close, right? And so I'm just glad that everybody has been able to see the imbalances and how much that can make a difference. You know, like we were sort of in the dumps with those NVIDIA trades, and all of a sudden Apple, JP Morgan came through and made our lives a little bit better. There's NVIDIA, look at this, 126, still ripping to the high side, even though there's a sell imbalance. 370 million shares is where we will close with NVIDIA. So let's ring the bell at the Dara, and I will see everybody tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Well, don't forget about the market recap show. In a matter of seconds, Adara is going to be on the bell, running there in 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it, Adara. And I'm going to correct myself about something. I said Carvana almost broke that level on the weekly. Incorrect. It looks like it tagged a fresh high. Well, it's on the daily as well. A fresh high on Carvana was made by about 25 pennies. 129 broke. It did not hold. Up 7.5%. There's your break right at the end of the day. Chewy broke the highs and ran. GameStop broke the high and ran. Carvana broke the high and ran after what is a pretty slick upward trend. So a good day for the memes. The market closed up over 1%, so that's a good day. A lot of that's going to be NVIDIA catching a really big bid, and Google doing some really impressive things. Alphabet pressing through. Let's go. I mean, Alphabet pressing at the end of the day. Microsoft pressing as well. So there's a lot that was strong. I know you saw that tank over there in Apple and Amazon, but this is why the Mag 7 don't trade together anymore. You got to respect the fact that they're going to they're going to march to the beat of their own drum. And as a trader, you got to do it. When they're all going up together, you trade them all together. When they're not moving together, you've got to pick and choose direction, got to pick and choose the right stocks at the right moments. That's what we're always here for. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin, as always, doing a great job on the ones and twos. Big, big shout out to the midday. That average true range, a few of them broke that today. I promise you that. And we always wanted to break it, but it's a good lesson to learn on the midday. Learn to trade, learn about the average range, a true range with Adara, with Sharif. But you know what time it is. We've got the aftermarket show right now. We've got Adara, we've got Sean. I believe we've got Chris Brecher as well. I'm pretty sure that's who's going to be on the afternoon show. So let's knock him out. Let's go get, sorry, Brian Shannon. It's Brian Shannon. I have Chris Brecher on the mind because I was just emailing him, I think, for tomorrow. But it is Brian Shannon. That's my fault. We've got Sean Adara, Brian Shannon at the desk. Go get him.
Sean, you're muted. No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Yeah.
Maybe I should be at some point muted here today. But what a good day. Thank you, Dara, for joining us on the recap show. Of course, you're here every single day. So
Always
thank
happy
you
to be here.
For doing that. And always happy to be here. You've got on the green today, which was a big-time battle back for the NASDAQ. I mean, yesterday we were down that 1% or so. And you can see right here, just by looking at the triple Qs, there it is. 1, 2, 3. Adara comes all in green, and bang, right back there up to the upside there, 1.1%. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Thank you to Bears vs. Bulls as well today. Always doing the bang-up job there of moderating. We'll have a few things to talk about, and we will be joined by
Brian Shannon
today, so that should be fun. Yesterday, like one of the only green names was the MSOS there in the cannabis space, but today down 2.3%. So MSOS downside, GDX downside today as well. We'll go over some notes and we'll look at some individual names in a couple minutes, but let's just quickly have a quick look at some of these ETFs. Uranium downside, I mean, it hasn't been a good move for uranium either. We did have some Fed speak today, which started to go, I don't know, I guess it started the market upside. We didn't really pull back. There was some negative talk, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But SMH, again, being lifted by NVIDIA, nice move in. And look, I don't think one day makes a correction or anything like that, but it was really nice to get NVIDIA back up 7% today. Oh, yeah. What a green candle, giving it all from yesterday and trying to take out that 127 level. So maybe we're all the way back already. We'll wait to hear. I mean, it came out at 118, right?
Yeah.
That dip down was 118, so just comes right back in. And I mean, look how good this support is right here.
Oh, that's a nice look.
You know, I mean, here. The other time he was told, Michael Noss was like, hey, man, just use these tools. So right there it is right here. Look at this line. That's 118, right where we came out from. There it is right there. What a good hold. We'll look to see if we could buy some 118s. We got slipped up because we were trying to short this 125 area, but at the end of the day, it does break longer there on NVIDIA. All right, what else? Qs. What is XLC? Ooh, communication services. We'll find out more about what's rallying that. ARC is finally up. Oh no, not a good day for Brian to come on. He doesn't like seeing ARC up.
Yeah,
but look at this, man. Still a very, very beat up name in ARC. Is FDX out?
It came out early.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. I forgot all about it. Let's go.
Yeah, so these are coming out here.
Wow, nice move.
We're still just digesting these numbers here. Right now, I'm seeing less of the actual numbers and more of the overview, but I do have Q4 revenue coming in to 22.1 billion here versus the estimate of 2.06 billion. So that's going to be a beat here. EPS also a beat, $5.41 versus $5.35 expected. So it's going to be a beat across the board here. We do see CapEx of 5.2 billion.
I mean to interrupt, but not that rudely. Right now, Rivian is up 40%. Rivian, right now, Rivian and Volkswagen are planning a joint venture for next generation electric vehicles. So there goes Rivian right now. Your boy was long. Hey, where the hell's that damn sticky note? Rivian was on the sticky note for the #1 idea long today. There goes Rivian. Obviously, we don't have that crystal ball, but Rivian right now up 30 points. Let's go, let's go, let's go for Rivian. You know where we're long on this name? 11.25.
Nice.
All right, maybe we can't make money trading, but we can make money investing. There it goes, nice upside move. Just kidding. Trading was actually pretty fine. Nice move up there for Rivian. Nice move. Find out some more information about that one. As there goes Rivian. Let me drop it down to a 1-minute chart just to see how insane this is. Boom, boom, boom. It is Volkswagen. It is Rivian.
I have more details if you'd like.
Hold on just quickly. Let's go quickly to FedEx. FedEx right now, nice upside move as well, up 8% for FedEx. So that move for FDX is an expected move. We are expecting 7%. There we go. I was expecting 7%. I was getting horned.
Oh, by the horns, by the things.
Is that all right? You can say that.
Yeah, I mean,
Spiked?
You were getting stabbed with a, I don't know.
Horned.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can say it.
Okay.
There's a horn.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. All right, let's go back over just quickly, back over the chart, and then we'll get what Adara has to say. $15 for Rivian. Adara, give us some more good.
Yes, okay. So Volkswagen, Rivian looking to enter this joint venture to create this next generation EV platforms. Okay, here's the thing though. Volkswagen is going to invest initially $1 billion in Rivian, $1 billion Rivian, with up to $4 billion in planned investment. So investing a quarter of what could potentially be up to $4 billion here for the total deal size of $5 billion. So lots of billions happening here for Rivian. Also, Rivian does plan to contribute electrical architecture expertise to this joint venture. So Volkswagen going to bring the money, Rivian going to bring the architectural expertise, and Volkswagen aims to launch these vehicles within this decade here, and Volkswagen currently expects the completion of this joint venture formation by Q4 2024. So it could happen very soon.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's what Rivian needed, right? They needed some help with the production side of things, and now they get, obviously, a legacy automaker with Volkswagen getting involved. So maybe they were trying to kick the tires on Fisker, who knows? But now they'll invest in Rivian and see if that can get going, which is great. I mean, I got the Atlas, and we really love that. So Volkswagen, I like it. We've been really happy with their products. Let's see what winds up happening now with Rivian and Volkswagen. Just really quickly, man, that was the worst day. I was just reading it right now. Rebounded nicely today, following a rough start to the week. The NASDAQ recorded its worst session in over 2 months Monday.
Since April, yeah.
You know, there hasn't been a 2% down move in the S&P 500 in guess how many days? Guess how many trading days?
It's over 300.
Correct.
367?
You know how close you are?
Am I close?
You're very close.
378? I don't know. What was that?
It's 377, and including today, it's 378. There she goes. You're on fire. Good one right there. How did you get that?
It was honestly just, I knew it was over 300. I knew it was close to over a year. I started with 367 because I thought it was a little over a year. Your face made me look like I was lower and not higher, so I went higher.
Yeah, I couldn't fool you. Fed's Bowman, a little bit. She came out with a potential rate hike talk there, saying not satisfied with some of these numbers in inflation. And then, of course, I don't have the Canada thing here, but of course in Canada today, CPI, that inflation print comes higher, which is not good. So they lowered interest rates last last week or 2 weeks ago, and then now today maybe regretting doing that decision for the BOC, Bank of Canada. Worse inflation numbers today, but it was the Q's up 1.13. Look at the SPY again coming back down in a little bit today. We also got movement from Gensler and ETHE, as apparently now Gary Gensler said the ETF approval process is going smoothly. So we had Brian Shannon on before talking about ETHE, and you can see today a nice move up 4% today as the ETF going smoothly, says Gary Gensler there. And Bitcoin bouncing again after bouncing through. We can check out GBTC. It doesn't, I mean, just to get the percentage, up 4%, almost 5% today, bouncing off of 60,000, closing the day in and around 62,000. And we did have, well, can you get these numbers for us quickly? CCL.
Oh, CCL.
So we had CCL early this morning. I know they beat everywhere on CCL. They had, they actually also did guide forward. So it was a good guide for CCL. You can see them on the daily chart. I like this long, and we actually took CCL right off the jump. So here's my CCL trade. Again, better EPS, better revenue, and a guide forward. So it's the trifecta of victories today for Carnival Cruise Lines, and that just continues to go higher. So here's the trade for myself. We got in early at 17, dipped by right off the open on a sell imbalance, ripped it all the way up. That purple is not a short sell. We did not short it. It bounced around here, 1750, where we got out. Before Carnival, Adara, ending the day up 8%. So I think it was trifecta, right? Beat all over?
Yeah, so they beat revenue here. Q2 revenue, 5.8 bill versus the expected 5.68 bill. That's going to be a beat. Earnings per share, we had a surprise profit, which is definitely a beat then, coming in 11 cents per share profit versus the expected 2 cents per share loss. Cool little beat there. They also did raise their net income guidance by roughly $275 million for the year. EBITDA was higher than expected. Conference call is pretty good, saying they're seeing increase from new and returning customers. So lots of growth, lots of demand. Great look across the board for Carnival.
Yeah, that meanwhile, the real estate sector underperformed as housing price index rose less than expected on a month-over-month basis. So, you know, not a great spot for real estate. We'll check out, wasn't it the X, isn't it XRE? No, I'll find it in a minute here. Wow, the Jets ETF today with Carnival, XRE Jets, no. JETS, Jets. XR, oh, is it XRLE? No, womp womp. I'll get it in a minute, so we'll figure that out. But right now, it was the Jets ETF again. Looks like they had a nice little move to the downside right now, down 1.1%. Again, you know, Carnival good. Obviously, that's not going to be affected with the airlines. We did have some Boeing and some Spirit Air talk as well right there. But FedEx is going crazy. People want to more about FedEx. FedEx is imploding. Well, yes, sir. Thanks for bringing that up there in the chat. Shout out to whoever this was. Where is it? Do I think Rivian?
The Deepster 7.
Do I think Rivian will be tradable tomorrow? Hold on. Slow down. All right, so by the way, FedEx, bang, up 12%. Great move there for FedEx. Do I think Rivian will be traded tomorrow? Today, where's that sticky note thing? Today, Rivian was the #1. Stream Deck is down? Is that what you said? No. Sunbright, is the sun bright? I don't get that one. I'll get to it in a second. Here, there's Rivian.
Oh, it means like it's definitely happening. Like if the sun is bright.
Oh, got it. I got you now, my guy. All right, so here's Rivian today. I mean, we bought this dip in Rivian today. We really like the name. It was the #1 name on the sticky note. And look, honestly, Guggenheim, the next time these guys upgrade somebody, I'm going to see if there's a big news piece coming. Maybe they know a little bit too much over there in Guggenheim land. But there's the out rate there at $11.95. So I feel like Rivian, again, the P&L number 2 or 3 stock on the show today, bang for that one, Rivian. We have the bottom, and we pretty much have the top before. Rivian touched $16 right now? All right, what does this look like on the daily chart? Uh-oh. Look at that. Look what we fail right there. We'll talk to Brian maybe about this as well. But there's Rivian failing into past support. So, or I guess in this situation, resistance, which was support down here at 14.15. Now we just touched 16 and change. It's Rivian, and it's a monster. Shout out to some of my friends out there that were asking me about Rivian. I mean, I bought myself, so we put the money where our mouth is. We're long Rivian. I keep saying that every day on the show. I'm like, I look at Rivian, it's at 11.25. It's at 11.25. It's at 15.65. Let's go Rivian, man. We will ask our good friend Rivian. Oh yes, Adara. Oh
Wait,
yes,
Rivian.
you can buy. Rivian, she's excited over there about Rivian. I mean, this is what Rivian's doing, man. It's up 42%. Ramin, if you have those options in your pocket, then you yourself too can drive around in an R1T.
I want an R1.
She just wants the money. Okay, so you can buy it and resell it. I don't know.
I want the Rivian.
Right there, but a nice move up there for Rivian. And of course, completely different names. Rivian, a company that can't make any money. They actually lose money per vehicle. FedEx today, not losing money at all. You know what? Is this a bellwether for the economy? Yes, it is. Why is that, Adara?
Because if people are buying packages, then FedEx will be making more money because more packages will be delivered. And if no one's buying packages because they don't have money, then FedEx is not doing very well, and we wouldn't have a beat across the board, which we did have.
Well done, well done. Someone has taught you well, not me.
Well, I would say
maybe
this
Sharif.
whole place has taught me well. Yeah.
Good.
I've learned from everybody.
I thought maybe me as well.
You do, yeah. You and also Ramin says we must mention her. But like I said, I've learned a lot worse than sitting on this desk for sure at the market recap.
All I learned from Ramin is that if I give her a Rivian, she's turning around and selling it. That's what I thought of.
She's got to have her side
and
hustle.
she's got great chocolate, and she's got great taste in tea.
And I love her like little funny comments at our ears.
Yeah, and she has a
Ramin.
cool sweater on. Right now, okay. No, don't you guys short Rivian every day? No, I do not. There's FedEx anyways, a nice move up there. Let's just check out FedEx quickly on the daily here before we get over. Oh, wow, it's already 4:15. We got to get to Brian real quick. All right, before we get though to Brian, I'm going to just go over this real quick. Let's just look over some names if we can. So today, big move. Get my mug out of there, Ramin. There it is. Nvidia up 7 today. Google, all-time highs today for Google. And again, a name that I know we've talked to Brian about that one. Looked real good, basing up there, and now the extension break higher. Amazon has me more worried about the failed breaks. We'll see if Google can hold that today, tomorrow from today. Eli Lilly, though, wow, what a mover that has been, man. Up to $900. Eli Lilly can't do anything wrong. They actually signed a deal today with ChatGPT. OpenAI.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out, again, more medicine development, different techniques, and so on and so forth. So we definitely shout out Eli Lilly. I know Brian's coming on, but there's Tesla. We talked about that last week again as well. I think Tesla has a good chance to get up to that 200. There isn't too much of a better chart for myself. I really like the base that we saw in Tesla, and now trying to get back up to 200. Before we get Brian, let me just show you that real quick. So I talked about this on the show today. I really like, and here's a line that we've built before, 170, so this line goes nowhere, but there it is. It's the 50-period moving average. Tesla right now, I mean, I can put an anchor on here down at this bottom for Tesla to see holding the 50-period right there, 174, 175. Again, you can also drop anchors from the high, but that would be somewhere up here, trying to break through in and around $200. I like Tesla, but you know who's got all of this covered?
Oh, yeah.
I'm 100% sure. And it's Trader Talk, and it's Brian Chan. Let's bring him in. Oh, hello, Brian. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Good afternoon. How was your day, Sean?
Well, I shorted Nvidia into the close, and that did not work out very well as Nvidia winds up almost 7%. Maybe we can even start by talking about that. What a great move as Nvidia pulled back 15, 16% over the last 3 days, and everyone was like, okay, here's the pullback. And then Nvidia just goes full stop on that one, up 6, 7%. You traded any Nvidia today?
I did a little bit on the long side. I used the NVDL, but we had it come down to, a lot of people were talking about the 20-day moving average, the simple moving average, or the 21 EMA.
Yep.
I've been talking about the anchor from this gap right here from the earnings report. And we kind of tagged that almost pretty perfectly yesterday. And this morning we opened on a slight gap higher. And then we got the classic, don't chase that gap, but wait for it to get back above the volume weighted average price right here. And we had, some nice movement to the upside. It wasn't smooth staying above the VWAP the entire day, but nonetheless, it's a good bounce. We'll see if it can amount to a little bit more. I've got my eye on the anchor from the all-time high, which was just a couple days ago, as we know,
right,
and that declining 5-day moving average, which will potentially run into some resistance tomorrow around this 127 and 128. Either that, or it just continues to ramp higher and take all those shorts and squeeze them pretty good.
Yeah, we definitely hope to get a little bit of a squeeze in Nvidia. I mean, I like the trading opportunities every single day. Seems to be there. I do not want to forget to mention this. Who's over there, Ramin? Let's talk about this first of all. Maximum trading gains with anchored VWAP. I want to make sure that everybody understands who we have on right now. It's Brian Chinnan at Alpha Trends. Thank you so much. A lot of people on the floor learning a lot from this book. It's been passed around a lot. I could have a joke there, but I'm not going to say that right there. And look, we had Mr. Michael Noss on yesterday. I know he's a friend of yours. You like Mandera? Too funny. All right, so we had him on yesterday, and I talked about, hey, what's up with the weakness in Bitcoin? But you know what he suggested? There's strength in other places, right? And I think that this is something that we had talked about, that me and you as well, and that was Ethereum. And I mean, trying to look at where potentially there was some more strength outside of BTC. It looks like right here, Ethereum, again, nice move up. We get some better talk from Gensler today on ETHE. Seems like everything's going smoothly, but again, looking to hold this $30 mark. I like this. I know I think you're out of ETHE and maybe just looking at the coins, but we still like it. I still like some of these dip buys in crypto.
You know, yesterday we came down perfectly to the year-to-date anchor in Bitcoin itself. That was about 59.5. I bought some there, small amount for a bounce.
Congratulations.
Sold half of it and still holding half of it. Ethereum has me a little bit concerned, actually, Sean, is that if yesterday was a shakeout, which I'm hoping it is, otherwise we've got the potential for supply right around in this area, about 34.50 on Ethereum itself. That's the anchor from the year-to-date high, and where we spent the last 2.5 weeks trading sideways. So that kind of has the potential to, thwart any upside for a little bit. I think they all need a little bit of time still to kind of just turn sideways, but nice bounce opportunity anyway.
Yeah, I mean, great trade by you, getting 59.50 there, 59.500 all the way back up. So nice little bounce today in crypto. Congratulations on that quick trade. All right, so remember, this is funny that it's Rivian, and because remember you and I a couple weeks ago or months ago, we talked about Rivian. It was like it was looking pretty sick, and I agree with that as well. But you know what? We've been holding the 50-period moving average. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere today, we get this joint venture, and it's a joint venture here to create industry-leading vehicle software with Volkswagen. I don't know, but look at this in the after hours, Brian. Rivian right now up 45%. But the thing I want to remind everybody is, again, the short float, and I know you and I have talked about this again, 19% on that, 5 days to cover. This thing could have legs just because of that. Whenever these pieces of news come out of nowhere, often you'll get a little short covering, needless to say, but you just broke through the 200-period moving average. We're ticked up right into here. But look what we find, Brian, right back into what was support. Now I feel like it's going to turn into resistance. We haven't tested this yet. So I want to ask you this question. If you see the chart on the daily here for Rivian, this is the first time we've come back into this 15, 16 area, which held, right? They miss on earnings. We haven't really gotten back up there. So any experience with kind of first-time tests like this? What are you thinking about Rivian? To me, I think we'll sell some of our long into this move up. But first area of test now, $15. What's it looking like to you?
I think it's a good idea to take some profit there, Sean. And if you drop an anchor on that high that we saw last July, you'll see we're right up against that as well. I guess you've got my screen up. So here we have the anchor off of that high from last year, and we're right up against it here in the after hours. As you mentioned, the old adage, prior support tends to act as resistance. You've got to remember why. It's the psychology of supply and demand. A lot of people bought in here last year and early this year thinking, hey, we are at support. This is a good place to buy. And then we had that gap lower where all those people basically got trapped. And how do you feel down here? You just kind of feel, a little bit burnt by the market. So you've been looking at this stock for the last 6 months in your account, just bleeding out, doing nothing for you. Meanwhile, the market's going higher. So there's a lot of price memory in this area, in other words. And I think a lot of the people who were purchased back in here are going to look at this and say, here's my opportunity to get break even. I've been reading about this company. They lose $33,000 per vehicle. Is one little partnership going to be able to, turn this company around? Or am I better off, raising some cash on this, lucky little break and, move into some more established uptrending stocks?
I mean, that's thanks for bringing that up. You heard me mention that they're still losing per car, so let's not get too carried away. We've seen some of these plays turn around before. We're getting a lot, I think both you and I are getting a lot of credit here in the chat. A lot of people agree with us. Not a great area to start a position for sure up here. Give it a couple days. Let's see what winds up happening to that one. You're also getting a lot of love here. What's up to Ian? He wants to know about this TGTX. I mean, we keep talking about it. You've mentioned it a couple times here. And what a great couple days here, Brian, as TGTX going from $16 all the way through 19. We've noticed on your X feed as well. You've been talking a little bit about this, but there goes TGTX again, another one here. Any update maybe on this position or what you've been saying?
Sure. You know, it was a week ago today that I told you on here that I got back involved in it. I've been kind of battling with it a little bit successfully, but I got back involved last Tuesday and added to it last Wednesday and made it, you know, my best trade of the year so far because I got some pretty large size on it. So I have scaled back a little bit simply because, you know, risk management, but I'd like the stock into probably at least the low 20s up to this high. We've got new short interest numbers coming out tomorrow for the stock. Now, in the last month, they had dropped it from 37 million to 33 million. So in other words, they covered 4 million shares. Unfortunately, the way that short interest is reported, we will only know the numbers as of the 14th of this month.
Right.
So we don't get to find out what they've been doing here, which common sense would tell us they're most likely covering and they're getting a little bit panicked. So you've got them in there, I think, that are the shorts that are to protect it a little bit. I'm holding some, and my plan is that I want to hold a core position. If we get a nice shakeout, I'd love to add back to this stock. They're coming out with numbers for their drug, and I've done a little bit of fundamental work here as well. That along with the technicals and the short interest, I think this can still be quite a big winner, but I definitely wouldn't be buying up here.
Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for being here with us. I was wondering your thoughts here. We have a couple people in the chat, including Dan McIsaac, asking what you're thinking with CMG, Chipotle, with that split coming up tomorrow. Is there any levels you like on this? Is this one that you're interested in trading? Any thoughts as we get into what could be a pretty interesting split, 54 or 1 for 50 split?
Yeah, I mean, we've had such a big run in this stock. I mean, basically 50% since the beginning of the year. I'm a little bit hesitant to purchase it on this. Now, obviously, I was a little bit hesitant on Nvidia too. I kind of thought that the split would maybe mark a near-term peak. Instead, we saw the stock continue to rally here. It's in an uptrend, so it's innocent until proven guilty. I'm really looking forward to this one splitting because the average daily volume at this price is only 377,000 shares. So I think it's finally a tradable stock because we won't have, you know, a $30 spread in a stock anymore. We'll have a much more reasonably priced. So I haven't traded in quite a while simply because the lack of liquidity and the high price. So I think it's a great split, but I'm basically going to say I'm not interested in it quite yet, Dara.
Thanks for that, Brian. I just want to show here Henry Chung giving you very, very kind words in our chat as well. He says, always been a fan of you, Brian. I successfully used the anchored VWAP to bet on Nvidia dip yesterday. So there it is right there, works. I just actually want to talk to you a little bit about that because, again, being a fan of your work and, of course, you know, continuously reading this thing, I feel like it's important that we understand what these indicators are exactly, right? When we're putting up anchored VWAPs, they're just areas of interest for us to look at and then to trade around that. And if we notice that maybe it's holding the anchor, that could give us a good idea of where there's potentially buyers and or sellers one way or the other. And then your terminology is the penalty box, right? They're in there until they're proven to be out. And you know, you got to do your time when you're in there. Give us a signal to prove that you're being ready to trade. And I think that there's obviously lots of wise words in books like this, but for me, that's a big one. And that is that you don't just always say, oh my God, this stock is at anchored VWAP, therefore this. It gives you an idea of possible support and resistance, and then a trading plan from there needs to be developed.
Well said, Sean. And, you know, I did not buy it yesterday based on it touching that anchor from the gap because I didn't have the confidence that it would hold. We had a good chance that it would, but at the end of the day, it sold off pretty hard in closed week. So if you had purchased it late in the day yesterday, this was the last 30 minutes of the day.
Right.
And I think you were talking about shorting it. That
Yep.
was pretty ugly. Instead, I was looking at it saying, here's our level of interest. Now I switch to my rules of engagement the next day, which are if it gaps up, then I wait for the gap to settle down and then buy it as it gets back above the volume weighted average price. So there's all kinds of ways to do it depending on your risk tolerance. I personally don't want that overnight risk. It cost me a little bit extra because hindsight says that was perfect place to buy at the close, but hindsight is not gonna help us going forward.
Yeah, and I think hindsight is perfect. And I think that's sort of one of the problems, especially as a day trader like myself that will make hundreds of trades in a day. You kind of can't say, oh, I wish I had done this, or looking back at it. But the thing about it is I have notes all over my desk, and I'm sure a lot of our traders do that too, trying to little slight reminders. And you know what? As soon as you said that, I was like, oh my God, Brian, when there's a gap, wait for VWAP. I was like, that was one thing that you had taught me that I definitely should have learned from that. All right, people want to ask right now in the chat, how was skiing? You were skiing, I think, a couple weeks ago when I asked you what you were up to. I think you said you headed to the mountains. Must be nice to be doing that.
I did a week ago tomorrow. It was the Juneteenth day.
Right. How was that?
I drove a long way up the mountain on a dirt road until I encountered snow.
Yep.
Then me and the dog got out and put my skins on, skinned up, did some hiking, had to take them off. I probably got about 600 to 800 feet of skiing downhill, but it was kind of fun. It was unique, so it was fun. It was a good hike, and it's more fun than walking down.
Hey, Brian, we have a new podcast called Freedom and Wealth Podcast, and that reminds me of just having that freedom, being able to look out there and just see everything and clearing your mind from your day-to-day stuff and being able to relax. Great opportunity to do that, especially on your day off. Hey, maybe you'll join us. You want to join us one day on the podcast? We do it weekly. Would love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Let me shoot me some details. Let me know.
I will for sure. It's one of the hottest podcasts on YouTube right now. So
I bet it is.
Yeah, it's really hot right now. We're really happy to do that. All right, TGTX was one trade. Is there anything else, maybe something unique that you're looking at that you might want to throw up here and discuss with our viewers before I let you go? Over 3,000 watching right now.
Pan W is starting to look interesting finally. I think we spoke about the cup and handle in there and some of these levels. So here's that cup and handle.
Right.
We have been trying to break the last couple of days. I didn't buy it yesterday because it gapped up, but I think tomorrow you get back above this afternoon's high, not the morning high. You could see Pan W get going. CARG has been one that I traded previously. I think we spoke about. That one's got my attention with a stop below the low of the last couple days. And Tesla, we've been talking about. I think Tesla is finally getting there. We spoke about how it's been battling with this year-to-date anchor in here. We saw the shakeout. Now we've got a rising 20 and 50-day moving average and perhaps a move up towards that 200 level and then the 200-day moving average. For a bounce in a primary downtrend, I think Tesla could be good here by the time we speak again next week, Sean.
Yeah, I'm loving some Tesla for sure. I love that Pan W looking to break out as well. Okay, Brian, thank you so much again for joining us here on the show. The content you provide is endless. I want to make sure that everybody makes sure that they catch you with maximum trading gains with anchored VWAP. He never asked me to promote it, but I'm going to do it every single time. Thank you, Brian. At Alpha Trends, they can go find you over there on X. Once again, have a great rest of your week, and I hope all the trades work out.
You too. Thank you, Sean.
Ciao, that's Brian Shannon.
Bye, everyone.
Can't stop, won't stop, says Dan McIsaac. Great question there about Chipotle. We'll see if we'll trade that tomorrow, 50 to 1. So it should come down into what, 150? How much is it? It's 3,000. So
I saw it was gonna be like 62 or something.
Right, back in, right. So that should be really, really interesting as we'll see what's happening with Chipotle tomorrow. Just quick little look in here. Let's flip over to a 1-minute chart again. What was that, little small claps there?
I'm just excited for Chipotle.
Okay. Oh yeah, would you get? Oh, me and the wife went there on Juneteenth actually. I hadn't been to Chipotle in honestly probably 2 or 3 years. Crazy.
I like Chipotle.
Yeah, I got the salad. I got carnitas.
Ooh, nice.
And she got the sofritas, which is the tofu.
Yeah.
That was pretty nice. I got the salad. You got the bowl. What would you get? You get the bowl, the salad, or the wrap?
I get either the
burrito?
bowl or the salad, and I get it with chicken. I tried the sofritas once; they were too spicy for me. But the
spicy?
chicken is the good amount of spice if I eat it very slowly.
That's relatively new, I think, the chicken, isn't it? Maybe not.
Maybe it isn't. I don't
What
know.
am I talking about?
I usually get like I'm like a chicken or tofu person, but I found the sofritas too spicy for myself. But I like the chicken bowl or salad.
Nice, good one. All right, yeah, bulls are the way. Yeah, you're right, Dan McIsaac. Okay, there it is. So Rivian right now holding the highs and getting higher up. Again, not trading advice, but for myself, we're long at 11. We'll probably take some out at 16 and then go get a bull at some point and do that one right there. So again, I want to definitely thank Brian Shannon for coming through. I mean, the best just keeps getting better. The show keeps getting better. It's going to get a lot better tomorrow when Neil is in this seat. So Neil will be covering for me over the next couple of days. It's been a great, actually next couple of days. I'm not here doing this show for weeks now because I am off Wednesday, Thursday, the show. Neil does it. Then I'm not here Friday as we head to the baseball tournament. Then I booked off all of next week, baby, because it's already, there's Canada Day in the middle there. Of course, July 1st being there as well. And we should have some good coverage coming back in with Neil, Obi, Adara, and Sharif. So lots happening. It should be really good. I want to give a big shout out to Brian Shannon one more time. I mean, thank you so much for coming through. But we can't do everything without doing one thing, and that's the roll call. Because I forgot it yesterday.
Oh yeah.
You know, yesterday I said roll. That didn't seem long enough. Okay.
This is short. I thought it was longer as well.
Sometimes I don't know if Ramin just hits the cut button, you know, real quick.
You just think Ramin's always trolling you.
Well, you don't hear the things that she says.
Okay, yeah, well, I hear them. That's fair. That's fair. But I think she means well.
I mean, I was just like, oh man, that Nvidia trade. She's like, oh dude. Anyways, okay, we'll talk about that after. Nvidia's still going, by the way. All right, so here we go. Thank you to TH. Thank you to Henry Chung, Darwin as well. For profit, Dan McIsaac. Hey, Dan, we got that Chipotle question in there for you as well. Right there. #1 podcast on YouTube, says Dan McIsaac. Thank you so much. Of course, Bears vs. Bulls is there as well. Yoel is here. Mr. Longshorts is here. Yeah, traders stay late. I mean, we brought you that Rivian news. We brought you FDX, right? FedEx still ripping there. Hey, Daryl, one of the best here. We used to have traders on the show. Daryl was one of the OGs as well. So thank you very much for a great interview day. Yeah, Brian Shannon. And a big thanks to Kevin O'Leary as well. Right there again. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Westermeyer. Amazing show, says Travel Buddy. So there it is. Shout out to Adara and myself. You will be missed. You will be missed as well, Pro Day Trader right there. But we're going to take a little bit of time off. Thank you to Henry Chung as well. Hey, I'm back tomorrow. I'm here all day, Wednesday and Thursday, taking off Friday, then into last week, and then we'll be here after that. So again, thank you to Brian. Thank you to everybody for watching. And a big thank you to Adara. Thank you to Ramin. And that's about it. I think you can hear a pin drop in here other than that. Unless Obi's still here. I don't know. I don't see Obi. I think he's out of here. All right. Thank you so much for joining again. Thank you to Kevin O'Leary. Thank you to Brian Shannon. It was a hell of a day here at Trader TV Live, and we're going to repeat that tomorrow. Adara, have a great evening, and everybody out there have one as well at Trader TV. At Trader TV Adara, at Trader TV Sean. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Cha cha cha.
Bye, guys.